so to come on
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom to the worldwide family. We greatly apologize for the delay. Nat Turner had lost his beard on the south side, so we found it and we got everything going, y'all. We're sorry for the delay. No, I'm just messing with y'all. Y'all, we got to get it going, y'all. So y'all know how we do. We turn toward Holy Jerusalem, y'all. We're going to get it in. All praises to the Most High.
All praise. All right, family. We're going to get this opening prayer. And it's with the Most High's permission. And it's in the name of his only begotten and beloved Son, our Lord and Savior, and our Redeemer, our uncrowned King.
Yes, sir.
Yahushua HaMashiach. But we know him as Jesus the Christ, y'all. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Reading in the Book of Psalms, in the 30th chapter, it reads, I will extol thee, O Yahweh, for thou hast lifted me up, and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me. O Yahweh, my power, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Master, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Sing unto the Most High, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness. For his anger endureth but a moment, and his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved. Yahweh, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled. I cried to thee, O Master, and unto the Most High I made supplication. What profit is there in my blood when I go down to the pit? Shall the dust praise thee? Shall it declare thy truth? Hear, O Yahweh, and have mercy upon me, Master. Be thou my helper. Thou hast turned from me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, to the end that my glory may sing praise to thee, and not be silent, O Yahweh, my power. I will give thanks unto thee forever. Hallelujah! Say that!
Once again, y'all, apologize for the delay, y'all, so we're going to get right at it. If we're able to take a couple questions concerning the lesson, we will. But y'all, we definitely are a good hour, 15 minutes behind, so y'all, we want to get right at it. Today's lesson, Yeshua, the King of the Feast, after the order of Melchizedek, y'all. So we have our major fall feast coming up. That's trumpets, atonement, and Feast of Tabernacles, y'all. But we have to look at this from who's the king of the feast and how he tells us under the order of Melchizedek to adhere to the feast days now. Because it's not about food and drink lest any man should boast, nor is it about anything physical before you understand it spiritually. So y'all, we just gonna bring it from the perspective today of how at times Israel, when we got separated from our homeland, we lost our way on our feast days, so we were missing our doctor appointments. And you know when you keep missing your doctor appointment, how you feel. There's always something in the back of your mind like something could be wrong. So we have to understand these feast days from the Messiah's perspective, Because if you're doing them and you don't have faith and he's faith, you wasting your time doing it. All you doing is just at a gathering. Mm-hmm. So y'all, we want to make sure we get to understanding who the king of the feast are. So with that, y'all know how we get down. Yeshua, our holy Messiah, after the high priest, and the one and only high priest after the order of Melchizedek. And he explains all of what his father gave to him in his gospel via the law. Everything is explained from the law or referenced through the law. To every male, female, rich and poor, free and bond, Jew or Gentile. So y'all, we're going to get right at it. We're going to start at Micah 5 because we need to get it clearly understood. This king was in charge of the feast in the heavens. And they will return the same way where he'll be the king of the feast again as he dwell amongst us as our tabernacle. The tabernacle will dwell amongst us. Can y'all imagine that rest dwelling amongst us? Your mind is at ease from all foolishness. So y'all, we're going to start right off in Micah 5. And like I say too, if they got any questions, we'll ask as we going along pertaining to the lesson. If it's something else y'all need to get at and it's of urgent nature, by all means, still ask if it's on your heart and soul and it's troubling you before the night. Who got it? Micah 5. On 1, right. We're going to read on down. Go ahead.
All right, family, we're in the book of Micah, chapter 5. Start the reading in verse 1.
So, and what's so important here, y'all, the birth of Christ, which no man can technically, his mom and daddy know the day he was born as well as the midwife, but nobody else. So these feast days when nobody knows the second coming either, no man knows the day nor hour. So what we're looking at is all of the days prior to Yeshua's return seem to be surrounding these feasts, these 3, trumpets, atonement, and tabernacles. So we're going to focus on that because we still continue on with the main feast, but the Passover for us to recognize who the true lamb is. But it's going to be just like Egypt, so we need him to pass over us because the plagues are hitting the world, y'all. The world is being stunned every day by multiple plagues. So we want to get our minds together, and when they say gather yourself together, you have to gather in one mind. That's right. How can 2 walk together lest they what?
Be agreed.
Let's get some more of this Micah 5.
The book of Micah, chapter 5 and verse 1.
Yes, sir.
Now gather thyself in troops, or gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He hath laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek.
So we know that happened. That's all Isaiah 53, where they snatched his beard off. They were just stealing him in the jawbone as he was being walked by, being heading to crucifixion. Go ahead.
Verse 2.
Right.
But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel.
That is to be who?
Ruler in Israel. Whose goings forth have been from old.
How long is this going forth?
From old.
See, so his going forth is old. This eliminates most carnal individuals like ourselves, because it's going forth is from old. Go ahead.
From everlasting.
From where?
Everlasting.
See, that's where his beginning is from everlasting. So he said, can't no man go back to the Father, because ain't no man ever came from the Father like this. So when he said, I must return back to where I came, and that's the right hand of the Father, the Messiah talked about that constantly when he said, give me back the glory I had before the world was. Before planet Earth ever existed, he was sitting at the right hand. So we know who this is talking about. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 3.
Yeah.
Therefore will he give them up until the time that she with travaileth hath brought forth.
Uh-huh.
Then the remnant of his brethren shall return unto the children of Israel, and he shall stand and feed in the strength of the Most High,
Right.
in the majesty of the name of the Most High his Elohim. And they shall abide, for now shall he be great unto the ends of the earth.
Right.
And this man shall be the peace, when the Assyrian shall come into our land. And when he had tread in our palaces, then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men. And they shall waste the land of Assyria with the sword, and the land of Nimrod and the entrances thereof. Thus shall he deliver us from the Assyrian.
Who we gonna deliver us from?
The Assyrian,
Uh-huh.
when he cometh into our land, and when he treadeth within our border.
Okay.
And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people, as a dew from the Most High, as the showers upon the grass, that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both tread it down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. Thine hand shall be lifted up upon thine adversaries, and all thine enemies shall be cut off.
So we keep continually seeing the remnant of Jacob, y'all. Yo, this is talking about that 1/3. 2/3 are gonna be wiped out. The remnant of the house of Jacob. There'll be small portions of Israel from each tribe. It'll be the remnant of Jacob. Go ahead.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Most High, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots, and I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds. And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers.
Not a one gonna exist on planet Earth. No witches, no soothsayers, nothing. We're gonna be free of communicating with the devil or the dark side. Go ahead.
Verse 13.
Yeah.
Thy graven images also will I cut off, and thy standing images out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thine hand. And I will pluck up thy groves out of the midst of thee, so will I destroy thy cities.
And groves, y'all, are like little graveyards or places where people would go to worship, where they would build an altar. It would be in a grove. He said, I'm getting rid of all of that. You know, like where they had a statue of Mary, the Catholics, or, you know, Isaiah 65 speak of, Isaiah 66 speak of, you know, in a garden, you know, chasing one man behind a tree. So it's symbolizing what you think may be the Garden of Eden or like that in your practice. But he said, no, I'm getting rid of all of that because it teaches witchcraft and sorcery. For one, you got one individual running the whole show, and he's using that witchcraft to subvert a whole house. So when you get into some Isaiah 65, 1-4, you'll understand it perfectly. Go ahead.
Verse 15.
Yeah.
And I will execute vengeance.
What are you going to execute?
Vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard.
Such as they have not heard. It ain't been talked about what the Messiah, when he bring the heat. So we want you to understand that as we get prepared for these feast days, y'all, we got to have in our mind the second coming could happen right then at that time. So, but still, because he's a merciful God, he's going to blow the trumpet, so he's going to warn everybody like he always do. Then you're going to repent and atone for whatever on that big list, the big 9 of 1 Corinthians 6 and 9. Know ye not that these shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven? You got to make sure if you on that list, you get off that list during this day of atonement, because it's a stronghold. You can't talk about the kingdom and you got a lock and chain that only stretches to the entrance of the door, but you can't pull that chain loose to go inside. You still outside, ain't you? You can see what's going on in there. They look like they resting in there. They look like is that the Messiah? And you pulling on that chain. No, you got to turn that stronghold loose because you'll bring it into the kingdom. And you bring burden into there. There's no burden. There's no sorrow. And then if you don't see your mama, brother, sister, or cousin, that's more drama, ain't it?
Yep.
So, y'all, he has to wipe all that away, y'all, but it can only be done by power that's been on high before. So, y'all, we just want to get into some short chapters of the Book of Enoch. We're going to hit 54 through 56. They like 8 or 10 verses. So we want to get right into the Book of Enoch, chapter 54. And then we'll go through 56 because it's saying the same exact thing, y'all. And all of this keeps lining up around this time that the Antichrist is going to be on the earth. When the Messiah makes his second coming, y'all. So that's a great tip-off of when to get your mind truly together. Because once they say who the king of the world is on this planet, and I seen how all y'all was crying out there because the queen died. Huh? What? Yeah, so y'all, we have to be careful and make sure, because look, she was still considered the king of England. Because even though it's queen, it's just like Nefertiti was the first, technically the first king, female king of Egypt. She was still considered a king. She took over from her husband, who was whoever that pharaoh at the time, the husband of Nefertiti, who was also King Tut's mama. So she was considered a king. So just like you have titles of president, but if something happened to Sleepy Joe Biden, he missed his bread pudding and pass out or something, Kamala Harris is going to be the president. Yep. And she's going to be called the king of America. We have to understand that. Let's get some more. Let's get right into Enoch 54, if you will, bro. Read that. It's some short verses, y'all. But if y'all got smartphones, we'll give them a second. If y'all could pull up the Book of Enoch, chapter 54. So that we read all along. Too bad if you got it, put it up, y'all. But we want to make sure we read together because it's something very important. And this is Enoch from on the other side of the flood, talking about him that's from everlasting. Mm-hmm. Yo, we got to get a clear understanding. Messiah just ain't showed up out of nowhere, and the only way we're looking at him is as when he was born here as a baby. He lived eons before that, amongst the Ancient of Days. He said, let us create man, didn't he? Mm-hmm. That's way before man was thought about, at least 5,000 years before the man was created. Let's read some more.
We're reading in the Book of Enoch, chapter 54. We're going to start the reading in verse 1. Let's get some understanding.
Yes,
family.
sir.
And I looked and turned to another part of the earth, and saw there a deep valley with burning fire.
So this is Enoch after he was taken up by the chariot. Enoch never tasted what we call physical death. He never tasted physical death. He was translated, and we're going to get this in 1 Corinthians 15:51. He was just transformed into the lifestyle and body and the inner parts of working, that if we're alive after the Antichrist is destroyed, that change will happen for us. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 2.
Yeah.
And they brought the kings and the mighty, and began to cast them into this deep valley. And there mine eyes saw how they made these their instruments, iron chains.
54.
Chapter 54.
Where y'all at?
Enoch.
Y'all ain't hitting that?
That's one thing about going to here.
Mine start off afterwards, the Ancient of Days.
That's what mine is.
You'll start off
Mine
that?
gonna start off like that. Let me see. I got it.
Yeah.
Which one you need?
I'm in the big book.
Oh, no, don't go in that one.
Oh, okay.
No, don't go in that one. That's why mine's still in the bag.
Let me see.
Okay.
Let me see this other. Let's see this this is 3 separate books. Let's see. 54.
Yeah.
And I looked and turned to another part of the earth.
No.
Is that it?
After the Ancient of Days, you show you that's Roman room.
No, this is the books of Enoch. This is a
If
three
not
different. Yeah, give me yours. Then. Let me see. I got another one at the crib. I got 2 or 3 different jashes. Like
Everybody got the Enoch up 54.
Afterwards, the Ancient
Yeah.
Days.
Yeah. Everybody starts out that way. Okay.
I have to order this one, man.
Well, that one it don't have all full, but it's got them in there. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's
the
first book.
first book,
First
I
book of
think.
Enoch. It should start off after this, the Ancient of Days. If everybody's seeing that 2 by, they seeing that?
Mine different. I got the same one over here was reading from. I don't have to switch.
Let me see.
The only other way I can do is put the phone up there and my connection trip for the day with the storm.
Huh?
Just like the one over here was reading at first.
You got yours saying that?
It won't pull all the way up. I'm trying to pull it up, it won't come. It's spinning and spinning.
Yeah, mine are too.
Let me look through that. Go ahead and read, and I'll keep up with you. How's everybody else?
I'm gonna have to get the other one.
Okay, go ahead and use the other one, bro.
You see, Daniel, this is the one I was reading from. That's the 3 books.
Hold on.
That's
Big
3.
one, though.
Yeah, the big one
That big
don't
one right there,
matter.
the only thing that's
Hold
good
on.
is
Hold on.
jazz.
Read, bro.
Yeah,
Everything else ain't no good.
really.
Yeah.
So they read
Yeah, I don't
different.
know where you. Okay. Yeah, that one they
Yeah,
got it.
that's the other one.
This
But
other
this
one.
one that
Go ahead.
was in this
That
one.
one, only thing good in that one is jazz and jubilee. The rest of everything in there.
It just read different, huh?
They read different, paragraphs be missing,
Okay.
paragraphs be added.
I'm gonna have to scratch that one out.
Well, we'll look at it and see it may be starting over like them 50-some verses missing in Sirach. But go ahead, wherever you at, bro. How y'all looking out there? Y'all good?
All right, family, the Book of Enoch, chapter 54 again, starting in verse 1. Afterwards, the Ancient of Days repented and said, "In vain have I destroyed all the inhabitants of the earth." Is that reading according
Yeah.
to John?
Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Verse 2.
Yeah.
And he swore by his great name, saying, "Henceforward I will not act thus towards all those who dwell upon earth, but I will place a sign in the heavens, and it shall be a faithful witness between me and them forever,
Right.
as long as the days of heaven and earth last upon the earth. Afterwards, according to this my decree, when I shall be disposed to seize them beforehand by the instrumentality of angels in the day of affliction and trouble, my wrath and my punishment shall remain upon them. My punishment and my wrath, saith Yah, the Elohim of spirits."
Right. So he's talking about, when he started off talking about why he had to destroy planet Earth before the flood. But he's saying also, come the end of time, it's going to be the same like manner. And I'm going to send my word again who's going to handle that business. So this is the Almighty still telling them, I hate I had to do that, but I've given y'all a chance. I could have started over again. What you got, bro?
It does not pertain to the subject, but you do have a question. Go ahead and ask it.
Well, I mean, what they're saying is it.
Since the Eve Oriole was trucking ass, are we allowed to watch scary movies on the Shabbat?
Yeah, if you watch the Walk on the Dark Side, you ain't seeing nothing more scarier than that.
As long as you ain't peeing on
Look,
yourself.
long as it ain't tormenting you and you can't sleep at night, long as you looking for fact-finding missions, like you're looking for how the devil works or how he slips in his devices, if you're looking for what we call fact-finding mission, then you're looking at it, you're not being bewitched by it, it's not having you scared to get up to go to the bathroom and you trying to explain that yellow stain as some tea. But no, you peed in the bed last night, you were scared to get up. If it does that to you, don't watch them. What you got, sis?
Well, the word of God does tell us we're to guard our eye gate and our ear gate will be let enter really our spirit, because once you let it in, it's hard to get it out of your spirit.
Well, the only problem is we got to balance that between learning the wiles of the devil.
Right.
So those are the tricks of the devil. So if Messiah say you have to learn it, because the best offense is a good defense. If you know what your adversary gonna bring to the table, you gotta be prepared for him. You will never be prepared for the tricks of the devil if you didn't study your adversary.
And watching is not letting it in your spirit.
Right. So what lets it in your spirit is like people that think, you may hear some that then jumped into soothsaying or say, well, I had to practice how it was performed to verify if it worked. It ain't never told you that. It told you if you see somebody rattling some rat ankles and throwing some crystals in the midst of them and chanting a strange doctrine, that's of the devil. You don't have to practice that. You don't have to get no bone, throw 'em, and then start run. No, you don't do it to learn the wiles of the devil. You just see what he's doing to trick the people, because you have the law. And the tricks of him is to trick you to not trust the law of God. And that's what he did with Messiah after 40 days of fasting, y'all. This is why we have to be careful. He's going to come after the Day of Atonement. That's when your body been washed clean and those spirits leave you. If you leave it wide open like that, or you get entangled into something, he coming back with 7 more of his buddies. And your estate going to be 10 times worse than it was before you got him out of there. So this is a permanent eviction you have to do during the Day of Atonement. This is not like the Catholic version of Lent, where they get rid of something for 30 days. No, you have to get rid of it for the rest of your life. You can't have that stronghold and then go back to it after the Day of Atonement. What you wasting time for? Let's read some more. Where we at?
Verse 5.
Yeah.
O ye kings, O ye mighty, who inhabit the world, you should behold my elect one.
Behold who?
My elect one, in capital letters.
Yeah.
Sitting upon the throne of my glory. And he shall judge Azazel, all his associates, and all his hosts, in the name of the Lord of spirits.
Right.
There likewise I beheld hosts of angels who were moving in punishment, confined in a network of iron and brass. Then I inquired of the angel of peace, who proceeded with me, to whom those under confinement were going. He said, to each of their elect and their beloved.
So always in the Bible, y'all, it's always going to answer itself. It don't need our help. The Bible answers itself, just like Enoch, and you always see every prophet. And then because you can ask the Lord. It's not like you see these groups about you better not say nothing, I wouldn't even turn that way. No, he wants you to talk to him. He's your father. And you say, then you can ask, well, what about these tied up right there? Who are they? You just ain't gonna travel through galaxies and not be able to ask no questions. When you come back here, you gonna be the same way like them ones who say they ancestors out there. What you ask them, name who they are. They ain't got no name. And if they say Johnson or Jefferson, then your ancestors only 200 years old from the plantation.
Right.
Name them ancestors. Who are they? All y'all, we be doing the same thing. We can't get into endless genealogy. Go ahead, bro.
He said, to each of their elect and their beloved,
right,
that they may be cast into the fountains and deep recesses of the valley. And that valley shall be filled with their elect and beloved, and the days of whose life shall be consumed, but the days of their error shall be innumerable. Then shall princes combine together and conspire, the chiefs of the east among the Parthians and Medes shall remove kings in whom a spirit of perturbation shall enter. They shall hurl them for their throne.
From their throne.
From their throne. Springing as lions from their dens, and like famished wolves into the midst of the flock. They shall go up and tread upon the land of their elect. The land of their elect shall be before them. The threshing floor, the path, and the city of my righteous people shall impede the progress of their horses. They shall rise up to destroy each other.
What they gonna do?
Rise up to destroy each other.
And that's nation against nation, kindreds against kindred. So we're still into that Matthew 24. So what we're seeing is, y'all, as we go through these scripts, we're gonna see these major fall feasts happening to seem like it's timing itself around the second coming of Messiah. Go ahead.
Their right hand shall be strengthened, nor shall a man acknowledge his friend or his brother, nor the son his father and his mother, until the number of the dead bodies shall be completed.
Until the what?
The number of the dead bodies shall be completed by their death and punishment. Neither shall this take place without cause.
So when we get into Revelation 6 and 9, when they were crying about the souls under the altar, how long? Until your further brethren be killed like you were. There has to be a second martyrdom before we reach the kingdom, y'all. Some of us gonna have to lose our life to gain it. But if you run off in fear, you gonna lose your life. Ain't nowhere to run from this worldwide. Go ahead.
Verse 12.
Yeah.
In those days shall the mouth of hell be opened, into which they shall be immersed. Hell shall destroy and swallow up sinners from the face of the elect.
So that's why we have to make sure if we want to be around the elect one, the everlasting one, we have to ensure that we've got rid of those strongholds on that 1 Corinthians 6 and 9. That one that tells us, know ye not. You can't be on Pharisee doctrine either. Because he said, unless your righteousness exceed what?
The righteousness of the Pharisees.
You have no what? We're going to go 55 and 56.
That
turn or not?
Yeah,
we're going to go, you got it? You good over there?
You got that?
Okay, we'll go 55 and 56. Y'all, they only short verses. But this really get into the Messiah next. 55, we're going to Enoch, that's next chapter, 55. They short verses, y'all, but it talks about the Ancient of Days like it did in Daniel, the 9th chapter. This matches up as well. I did see the Ancient of Days, and they brought the Son of Man unto him. You know, non-messianics say we have a problem with that chapter and verse because they can't figure out, or they won't say who it is being brought to the Ancient of Days. We also got a problem with Psalm 110. We stop at this verse. I don't care what verse you stop or start at.
Right.
You can't make the priest after the order of Melchizedek go away because you don't want to read it.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, bro. What you read?
All right, Enoch chapter 55, verse 1.
What it say?
After this, I beheld another army of chariots with men riding in them. And they came upon the wind from the east, from the west, and from the south. And the sound of the noise of their chariots was heard. And when that agitation took place, the saints out of heaven perceived.
The who?
Saints out of heaven perceived.
So we talked about last week, there was a great resurrection, you know, during the time the Messiah was crucified, say the graves opened up. Lazarus was resurrected. But there's nowhere in scriptural writing that we ever show Lazarus died or anybody that was resurrected under this sun. And when we're talking about, you're only allowed to die once under this sun that's presently in the sky. You won't come back under this sun saying you're reincarnated and sin is still in the world like this. No, those people were let out of prison because that's the first place Christ went to when he resurrected, was to free the saints from prison. Now, there's some lost books in the book of Clement and some other books that we were going into in the lost books of the Bible that talks about the one priest that held the Messiah when he was a baby. His sons died, and they went to their graves and they were busted open, and they saw a couple people. They say they 2 miles down the road. They went and talked to him, but they wouldn't talk to him. Mom was the word until they got the okay to explain to them only what took place in that lower level. They didn't discuss what was happening here on planet Earth. And then it said after they wrote these things out for us to see, they were never seen no more. We got the 144,000. In Revelation 7, Revelation 14, it say they were redeemed from earth. So it could have been Hebrews already died, sitting and waiting. They will be the saints that ride with the Most High in his army to come back and take planet Earth. They're under the altar. They're waiting on their charge to be woke up. They're the souls under the altar. Go ahead. Lazarus is still alive, but may be put to rest, like all the saints in paradise. That's where the thief went, to paradise. So they are put to rest. They're sleeping the best sleep of their life. You know how when you wake up and you realize you've been asleep for 12 hours and you just laid down to take a nap till the news came on, and you look up and you've been asleep that long? Well, you needed that sleep. So that's the best sleep. And when they resurrect, it'll be to return to this earth with the Messiah to reign havoc on these nations. If you're not part of that first resurrection, you won't experience that. After they reign havoc and get this earth set back up the way it was, and 1,000 years expire, and Satan is cast into the lake of fire, then we have what's called the second resurrection. That's where your O's got to outweigh your X's. You got to be on point on that second resurrection. If you make the first resurrection, the second one have no part. It has nothing on you. You in. You locked in. And that's when you'll see hell start to give up and the seal give up its dead. And they'll stand before the judgment throne at that point. That's the second resurrection. The 1,000 years is just those who will reign with Christ, both Old and New Testament saints who believed on him, like Job, like Joshua, like Moses, like Abraham who spoke with him, those who he would bring back with him. They straight warriors, y'all. Ain't gonna be no poop butts in that army. Let's read some up.
Verse 4.
Yeah.
And when the agitation took place, the saints out of heaven perceived it. The pillar of the earth shook from its foundation, and the sound was heard from the extremities of the earth unto the extremities of heaven at the same time.
So we still talking Matthew 24. Yo, we still talking about the world shaking. He gonna shake the world upside down in the heavens and on the earth. Go ahead.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
Then they all fell down and worshiped the Lord of spirits. This is the end of the second parable.
Now let's hit that last chapter 56, some short verses as well.
Verse 1. I now began to utter the third parable concerning the saints and the elect. Concerning the saints and the elect. See, and that's what we talk about in Psalm 50, chapter 1 through 4. David said, the Most High said, gather my saints together who's made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Those are my saints. They made a covenant with me. So y'all notice how it keeps talking about those saints that's on the third level called paradise. Paul speaks of it in 1 Corinthians 13, 2 Corinthians, is it 1 Corinthians 12? Let me double check that, but go ahead. Paul speaks of the third level of heaven, paradise. In the Testament of Levi, he speaks of it. And Luke 16 chapter speak of it, but go ahead, read on. Verse 2.
Yeah.
Blessed are ye, O saints and elect. For glorious is your lot.
What is glorious?
Your lot. The saints shall exist in the light of the sun, and the elect in the light of everlasting light. The days of whose life shall never terminate, nor shall the days of the saints be numbered, who seek for light and obtain righteousness with the Lord of spirits.
Right.
Peace be to the saints with the Lord of the world. Henceforward shall the saints be told to seek let me start that over. Verse 5. Henceforward shall the saints be told to seek in heaven the secrets of righteousness, the portion of faith. For like the sun has its arising upon the earth, while darkness has passed away, there shall be light interminable, nor shall they enter upon the enumeration of time. For darkness shall be previously destroyed, and light shall increase before the Lord of spirits. Before the Lord of spirits shall the light of uprightness increase forever.
And that's 2 Corinthians 12, where Paul say he went up to the third level of heaven, which is called paradise, y'all. On the other side of paradise is that place of torments for the most wicked people. They go there and hold those who've been taking shots at the Messiah, saying he don't exist. They over there in torments like in Luke 16 chapter. Let me go back and tell my people, like, no, you can't go back. You know you can't go back. This is why we have to be careful when you're reading in scriptures. Nowhere does a demon or an angel imitate anybody that's died already under this sun. You cannot have a early resurrection, so to speak. If you see Tupac, then Tupac wasn't ever dead. If you see him under this sun again, unless you see him, his grave opened up. And then you won't see him but a minute, and then he'll disappear. What's the matter? Too bad your forehead wrinkled up? You good? Let's get it, y'all. We finished that 56. You finished all that? Okay, so y'all, let's get right into it, because we're talking about what I wanted to establish was the Messiah and his power, and it may happen on one of these 3 feast days. Trumpets, Atonement, or Feast of Tabernacles, y'all, because they lead right into the major harvest, or the harvest for the world, y'all, where we can get rid of this crime and punishment, y'all. So we won't have to see on the news Israel no more in the position that they in, like the giggling Memphis man that's killing everybody. I mean, smiling like, I don't know, it's just something loose out there. He just decided he wanted to go kill people.
A lot of people too.
Some of the dude that shoot people.
Yeah, and then, but smiling and giggling in the back of the police car on his mugshot. That Lucifer race Jake be talking about, y'all, it's starting to look like that's coming into effect. Because they're just waking up out of the blue. And one thing it is, most of these killings, a lot of people are just getting out of jail. And you know, people in jail was test subjects for that shot.
Oh, that's right.
They messed around and double dosed a lot of them. And since they were locked up, they're the best test subjects. Let them out on the street, and look, he was in for attempted murder before they let him out. Only done 3 years on that, and they let him out early. And then he went on a killing spree. Something is going on, y'all. We have to be careful, keep our eyes peeled, because it's almost like they're being controlled. They just hit a switch and activate these individuals to go on a killing spree. If y'all have seen that boy smiling in the back of that police car like he done hit pick 3 midday. I'm talking about all his teeth. You can see the gums and the teeth. And live streaming. What you got over there, Shamar?
Ultra, man. You know, that's mind control.
Is that as well, y'all, but it's just turning it on and turning it off as a drop of the hat. The boy that killed that jogger had just got out after 20 years. 20 years in there, now he may get the death penalty. What you got over there, Theo?
I think it is, they do got some kind of mind control, but they got that, they show it in movies all the time. There's a movie called The Kingsman.
Oh, yeah, and it's linked to the cell phone, too.
Yep.
Yo, we have to be careful, y'all, because they're trying to get into your pineal gland, and when you start to look at your cell phone, if it starts to have in Google what you were thinking, we're going to have to be extra careful, y'all. You're going to have to keep your conscience, because it's throwing, not only this, y'all, but it may be listening as well. It's doing some soothsayer work. That mic will come on and it'll hear what you're talking about. It's not really into your mental yet, but it hears at times. Anytime you can push that button, is, you know, you using it for the advantages, there's disadvantages.
Them apps tell you that they do that. When you install the permissions, it tells you that it's going to access your mic, your pictures, all of it. So you can have a conversation about something, then I pick up my phone and type one letter that's in something I just said,
Uh-huh.
and that phrase will pop up.
Well, don't be whispering because the Lord can't pop up in your Google page. So, what you got, Sis Karen?
Mine is GPS. I was talking to somebody in my vehicle, and the female voice interjected in something, and I just said, "Follow me as I follow Christ."
Well, look, yeah, get in there, y'all, because the timing is almost impeccable. It's like, wait a minute, this ain't supposed to happen like that, y'all. But when, like, bro was talking about the Kingsmen, there's like, is this the third one or the second one?
Well, I was talking about the first one.
Oh, the first one? But you'll see them and this cell phone, the Kingsmen. Y'all, when y'all really see that, y'all gonna truly understand this because they're trying to get you hooked on this now. You don't need no money, you don't need nothing. All you need is your cell phone. And they know they got it when you commit a crime and you can't throw this away. Now they track everywhere you go. So this has become your conscience, and you got to make sure your conscience is clean. If they get a hold of this, they should not be able to pull up that you need a trunk full of turtle doves or calves if we were still under the order of urn.
Your phone says you were in the vicinity.
Yeah, look here, bro. Go ahead. Leviticus 23, y'all. We're going to start at verse 24. Go ahead, Imam.
If you mute it, they still pick up.
Well, you got to understand it's a two-way system. Yeah, it's a two-way system.
That don't mean it, that don't stop, that means.
It's a transceiver.
Yeah, a transceiver. Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
You can't check the battery out.
Yeah.
Can't take the battery out.
Right. See, they're slowly putting it and the dependability on it, and it's in your right hand. And not only this, y'all, but when they design these phones, they design them so you can operate the whole alphabet with your thumb. Now, I ain't fast as these youngsters, but if you ever see them youngsters, they can type faster than we can talk. They be like this, you be like, they ain't doing nothing. That's just, or we'll be hunting and pecking like Ariel was doing earlier trying to get to class.
I am not a scribe. But now I saw a brother had said something on the Facebook about this could possibly be the chip or the mark because you hold it in your right hand and then
Right.
you keep it up to your head.
Right.
And it's got all your information, your
Yes, sir.
financials and everything. So they're trying to make us dependent upon this phone, which, like Daniel said, leave that joke in the house if you want to.
Yeah.
You'll be making a Batman U-turn back to go get it.
Right.
So we could tell them everywhere you go. I mean, so I was thinking about that and I'm like, he might have a little something there, but I ain't saying that this is the mark. But it does have some similarity.
Well, even if it was, it has to, you have to be made. It say he causeth all. Now the cause could be you can't translate, you can't transfer any money, you can't transact any business. So that's a cause. But the bottom line is if you say, yeah, just leave my plan on, that's when the devil gonna come because it's gonna be the only source to get you food, pay your bills, and once it say, do you want your phone back, you know what you got to do. A lot of people may break down. So y'all, this is why the Day of Atonement is so important. If there's anything out there that has hold on you besides food and water, and man should not even live by bread alone,
Right.
but at least that's the minimal requirement to sustain the body. That's why they give it to you in prison and still work you like a dog and you don't die. Bread and water.
It ain't gonna kill you.
It ain't gonna kill you. But like I said, so once you get that understanding that the Day of Atonement, if you can't let go of anything for 24 hours, food and water should be the strongest thing. Anything else is gonna be a problem because that's what they're gonna bring to the table. Because what they're trying to do is learn the stronghold that you have. Once they learn your stronghold, that's going to be offered to you in trade for the mark of the beast. You think you're selling your soul for a record contract. Wait till this come down. Go ahead, Sid.
How you gonna say it?
I mean, that's just like the vehicle I have is a pretty new vehicle. They did a recall, gave me a new engine. They offered it like it's a convenience. And the engine light came on, engine wouldn't start.
Right.
So they had sent me a letter for a recall on the engine. And a lot of people get puffed up, they gonna give me a new engine. And then before I even got back home with the new engine, then the engine light came on again. Next thing, it was a recall for a catalytic converter.
Yeah.
They replaced it for free. So I went and I'm sitting in the dealership, this lady, they giving me a new engine. And I told her, I said, have you not thought that they're not putting computer chips in it? The reason why it's a new vehicle that should not have an engine breakdown.
It should not be in a new vehicle.
But the point being, they are putting computer chips in everything that they offer it as a convenience. The security systems that you can watch everything going on around your home while you're at work. If you can see it, the people that offer it to you, they will see everything you do. But the long story short, it's the one world government order controlling everybody. Who I could just DoorDash and everything put on my phone.
Right.
They keep track of your money. They can shut it down.
They shut your car down.
Hell, when they start, they're not going to make gas. They're not going to make gas-operated vehicles anymore. You're going to have to plug them into your home, which will skyrocket like they've already put, for convenience sake and lower economy on your electric and gas bills. So they're putting new meters. All of a sudden, your gas and your electric.
Well, not only that, but they can control them. You used to have to send the gas man out and the electric man. They don't send them out no more. No, they just push a button from the office. They turn it on from the, not only that, but water as well. They all electronic. So I want you to think about what if you're saying, well, I'm stocked up. Well, we're gonna cut the water off and see if you got enough water to keep flushing that toilet. Because you eat, you're gonna make a turd.
My electric bill went from about $70, $80 in the summertime because I was rarely at home,
Right.
to about $300 and some odd dollars. But when I called them and I said, what's going on with this? Well, that's what the meter says.
Right.
I said, well, who said the meter is right?
Right.
But they know what they're doing when they offer it as a convenience. When they offer, you got to upgrade, they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, y'all. It's all the plan is to bring order out of chaos. What you got over there?
Death by a million little cuts. They keep raising the price of everything, the gas, electric, the gas bill in your house.
Trust
everything
them.
is it's raised up so you don't realize it. Then all of a sudden, you got a $500 bill.
What the deal is, able to cut it off without sending a man out. Usually you get away 2 or 3 days. Usually you could cuss them out and get you another day. You could be like, I wish you would. I wish you would. Try to cut my phone off. Hello? Hello? They'll do it right then. They'll turn your cable right back on right then. Seconds later, and look, won't let you use your phone, only connect to the your phone subscriber. Right. That's the only number we letting go through, the bill paying number. What you got, Emo?
It's true, because they won't let you go anywhere or call anyone any hours unless it goes straight to them. Oh, another thing. So the people, I'm not saying, in certain neighborhoods, there was a guy that went out, tried to turn his gas back on. You know, went to the thing on the ground.
No, he wasting his time.
He waited, and he was angry because the gas people had already connected some kind of way.
Yeah.
So he's decided he's gonna have this other guy come down and put a long pole to see if he can connect another way. When his girlfriend came, she hadn't paid the bill. And he was saying all kinds of things that we couldn't get away with.
Right.
He did.
Right.
I'm like,
Well, all that's going to be cut off because it's rich, poor, free bond, Jew or Gentile. So it won't be a money situation. They don't care about money. They make the money. That's not what they did. We need to control souls and minds. And we need to control the rich minds as well. If we can get somebody just making $1 billion an athlete, he got fans. Need you to turn all them fans on to the mark of the beast. Let's get some more, y'all. Let's get caught up. Leviticus 23, we're going to start about verse 24. What you got, Tubat?
Eve already she trucking ass, I'm pregnant. Can I still keep the atonement?
You got to be extra careful with that because the baby has to eat. If you do, you have to get prepared enough to know how that fetus will survive for 24 hours. If there's a stronghold on you, you have to be able, you have to be careful with that. You know, because you may have to go into Nazarite mode for, like Judges 13, like Samson mama had to do. But that baby has to eat. You cannot do a feast day and hurt yourself. They're not for that issue, because the devil will use that against people. You starve a child, that fetus must eat, and it must eat clean. So that's why, y'all, when we get into the Day of Atonement, it's going to be something very important now. It's going to say on the 10th day of the month, but get it started on the 9th day of the month. So that confuses people, because it keeps saying the 10th, and then it's saying the 9th at evening. So that will answer her question on how to get prepared even if you're pregnant. The day before the fast, you know, get yourself prepared. You know, you may have to go on some fruits or some veggies or something to make sure that fetus, you do not starve it out.
Daniel fast is a good one. A Daniel fast.
Well, yeah, any of them. Or the fast that Daniel partook in. Let's get it, y'all. We got to get caught up. Leviticus 23, 24. And y'all, we're getting right down to these 3 feast days. Trumpets, atonement, and tabernacles, y'all, because they're tied around the Messiah, and he had to replace what the priests were doing. Every feast day was a shadow of him. They have to represent him. Go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 24.
What it say?
Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, and the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath.
What shall we have?
A Sabbath. A memorial of blowing of trumpets. And holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
See, you notice how when it uses Sabbath, it tells you what type of Sabbath it is. It wants you to look at it like the weekly Sabbath, because it says no servile work. Go ahead.
Verse 25 again. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you. Ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doth any work in that day, the same soul will I destroy among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings.
In all your what?
Dwellings.
So since we scattered to the 4 corners, it's telling us, ain't no, I'm not in my homeland, I can't do it. It's saying all your dwellings. Go ahead.
Verse 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. And the 9th day of the month at eve, from eve unto eve, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
Now, when we started off at that, it said in the 10th day, didn't it? Yes. So, y'all, and now it jumps back to the 9th at evening. So, y'all, what we're going to do is we're going to read about tabernacles further on down, then we're going to break them down, each one relating to the Messiah, second coming around these dates. So, y'all, it's very important. It's just not we know the day is coming. Who got their hand up? What you got, bro? Go ahead. The 7th month? Yeah, later this month. It's later this month, like the trumpet start on the 27th, Tuesday the 27th.
So that's when we do the afflict the soul?
No, that's the trumpet. And then a few days later, on the 10th day, the 10th day of the month, right?
6 and 7.
Well, y'all saying the calendar day.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm just saying that when you say 7th month, all you have to do is just get a regular calendar. It'll have those little moon symbols on them. The complete black one is the new moon, technically, in that sliver. So you'll see those little moon signs throughout the days. Well, the first day of the month, you'll see it right on the 26th to 27th, Tuesday that's coming up to 27th, you'll see that little moon there. Even though it's September the 27th on the regular Gregorian calendar, the feasts are only of the moon. They have nothing to do with the Sabbath. That's why it says you must look at it like a Sabbath day. Even though this day could come up on a Tuesday, it could come up on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, but you have to look at it like the weekly Sabbath, whatever you do with the weekly Sabbath. That's later this month, the 27th, and then we go to October the 6th there, and then the 11th, Tabernacles the 11th through the 18th. But we'll make mention of it as we go along. So where we at on that?
Verse 33.
Yeah.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord.
So the 15th day of the month is always a full moon. There's always a full moon. So that's how you know, in case we lost the writings, the season never changed their course. So they would keep us on course so we don't miss our docking point. If a plane went down and you on an island and you okay, we're going to get into some Acts 27 and you're going to see where Paul and them was struggling and fighting with the waves of the ocean. They got shipwrecked, but he had it on his mind. We got to still keep the feast. We got to do some things like we supposed to. So y'all, Satan going to throw roadblocks in the way. He going to try to prevent you from making your doctor appointment. And the main thing he going to try to do is get you to be at odds with your family members around this time, because this is the time you supposed to at least cleanse your mind of all that BS. You got anything you got going on, this is the time to clear it out. Hopefully it'll stick, but if you got it in your mind like Lent, like I'm just doing this for 30 days, or when this feast over, I'm going back to the hell race I used to be. No, don't do it, y'all. You're wasting your time. Go ahead.
So, then isn't supposed that every feast you're supposed to be able to get rid of all that and all that right out of your heart and all that?
You should, because when you're in the assembly, it should be one body, one mind, one soul. 1 Corinthians 12, you know, that breaks it down. You know, that one body, when you're amongst the assembly, you know, you should. But these specific days, because they could fall on the second coming of Messiah, you can't be just, that's going on today. It's the Day of Atonement. Yeah, you know, okay. You can't be caught off guard, y'all, what we saying. You must have your mind and your head on swivel at every turn during this time, because that's when the devil gonna attack, when you're most vulnerable, the Day of Atonement. That's why it's so strict on about not going to work. You do heavy work, concrete work, that hard, sweating, and you ain't ate all day, the devil gonna be right there to attack with your system as low as it is. You may get somebody around you and then they sneeze, and that bubble snot come out and hit you right here. Yeah, look at boy, I hope you go. Go ahead, bro.
Nita in the chat says, I'm struggling with this Passover. It was only 5 months ago. So technically it's 2 more months, right? That's how I calculate.
It's only 2 more months.
I'm thinking they're saying they think Passover is up in 2 more months.
Huh?
They're thinking Passover is coming up in 2 more months.
Passover ain't coming up in no 2 more
That's
months.
That's what they calculate. They ask.
Well, look, what day did they do Pentecost on? Because that was 30 days. I mean, that was 7 Sabbaths and a day. That should have been 50 days past their Passover, or they behind, or they did their Passover in January.
She said no. I'm saying Tabernacles in 2 months. Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, Tabernacles is in. We right at Tabernacles is less than. Then what we talking about? Less than 30 days? I mean, less than a day. What's the day?
About 30 days now.
What's the day? The
A little under
10th?
30
Well, the
days.
11th tomorrow be 30 days. So it'll be 30 days from tomorrow, Tabernacles. But we got to get prepared before Tabernacles, because Tabernacles is the feast. It's the love. It's the joy. It's where you done got rid of all of whatever's hanging on you, and you enjoying each other like that day, that feast day of the Feast of Tabernacles. I want you to think, if you do it right, you're preparing yourself for 999, 11 months, and 28 more days to go. If you're looking for 1,000 years. If you can't get past the weekend, 999, 11 months, and if it's the 22nd and 22 days, you have that left to go to do 1,000 years. If you can't do 3 days over the weekend or 7 days of this Feast of Tabernacles, what you going to that party for?
See?
No, you can't be told, wake me up when something started to happen. No, Go ahead. You gotta already be woke.
What we supposed to do on the feast on the Day of Atonement?
Right. Go ahead, bro. Right. What we supposed to do? Eating while they ask.
Heard it before.
Right.
Yeah, what we supposed to do?
What we supposed to be doing?
What
And
you doing right now?
biting on something. Go ahead.
35.
Yeah.
On the first day shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
So the first day, again, the Feast of Tabernacles is gonna start on the 11th. That's to be looked at like a Sabbath day. It's not the Sabbath day, because the moon does not control the Sabbath. The sun controls the weekly Sabbath. The moon only controls the feast Sabbaths. When you're told to treat it as a Sabbath day, you will never see the moon controlling the feast, because you can only get, if you only get 4 weeks out of a month, that's 28 days, ain't it? 28, and you do that time a month, the max you're going to get is 360 days, and that's going to be a problem for the sun, because it rotates, moves 364.5 days. Somebody got to account for the 4.5 days of the sun, and the sun is in charge of the moon, because the moon gets its light from who? The moon has no light. It gets all of its energy from the sun. So it can't leapfrog above the weekly Sabbath. Those days are to be looked at as a Sabbath day. Like when we was in the world, you did Christmas Eve. That was the eve before the day, but you rested the next day like it was a Saturday, even if it fell in the middle of the week. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some more, y'all. Let's get caught up. Where we at on that?
Verse 36.
Yeah.
7 days shall ye offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly.
What is it?
A solemn assembly. And ye shall do no servile work therein.
See, so what the Most High wants you to do around this appointment is don't have nothing else on your mind. It's a solemn assembly. It's where you sit and meditate. You know, it's for uplifting. It's for healing. You know, like if you went to the doctor with a bunch of problems on your mind, there's going to be a problem. Because when you're worried about things, it creates stress. Stress will raise your blood pressure up. You go in there worrying about any other things, you got to be able, because he's going to give us time to dump all of that doing trumpets. That's the sound of it. If you waited to the last minute, did you hear the sound of the trump? Let's get some more, y'all. We're going to get caught up, but we're going to give some examples of this.
Verse 37.
Yeah.
These are the feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day, besides the Sabbaths of the Lord, and besides your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto the Lord. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days.
Right.
On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. And ye shall take you ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of a goodly tree, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of fig trees, and willows of the brook. And ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generation. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month.
See, and we got clear understanding in the 7th month. It keeps letting us know in the 7th month. That's different from the 7th month of the Gregorian calendar. That's called July. The 7th month of the biblical calendar for feast days fall always between September and October. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 42.
Yeah.
Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths.
Right.
That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths, when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord.
So it says 7 days in the booths, y'all. So this is not to be taken to go live this lifestyle. He only wants you to live it for 7 days. He wants you to get comfortable with what you may have to do in 7 days. 7 days you should have a handle on how to live in the wilderness, so to speak. And artificial shelter or makeshift shelter till you get to your location. Sukkot booth was never to live in 365 days a year. It was only for that time. It's not to get mixed up in your mind and then you think because you can make a hut, that this means we can go live in a hut till the Messiah comes. No, it's here for 7 days and then you go back to your normal dwelling. It's just to remind us of what happened, because during the Passover, we ain't going back into bondage, is it? No. Ain't nobody putting on no handcuffs, is there? How about a yoke of iron around your neck? How about you just want Pharaoh to just whoop you until the Passover happens? No, you ain't going to them levels, are you? Let's get some more, y'all. So let's get right to the heart of it. Trumpets, Joel chapter 2. Y'all, we're doing a little speed reading today. But we're going to get through this, y'all. We're going to go now. We're dealing with trumpets, and we're dealing with trumpets preceding the second coming of Messiah. And we're going to see why the trumpets is so important. And y'all, it's not just trumpets, it's the last trump. Because the last trump going to signal the second coming of Messiah at the last trump. Y'all, and why another thing you have to look at when you're watching the movies that may involve witchcraft, because ain't nothing you can watch on TV now that ain't including it. It ain't nothing, you know. Every time they show, you know, you be into a good movie, next thing you know, there go 2 men or 2 women cussing. You have to look this way. And that commercial be lasting long too, and you be trying to. But they put it on everything. In the middle of football games, everything they want you to get in your conscience used to seeing this behavior. But the behavior's always been around us. It's just open now. It's overt. It used to be in what they call in the closet, where they done kick them doors open. And you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to deal with it like Lot dealt with it. And he kept, even though he eschewed evil, he kept his dignity, his integrity. Absolutely, bro. And never flipped out, watching that every day. It say every day he was vexed with it. Let's get some more.
We're going to the book of Joel, right?
We're going to the book of Joel chapter 2.
Book of Joel chapter 2 verse 1.
How we looking, y'all? Y'all, and this is now we're going through the trumpets phase, and we're going to time in when it's all pointing to the Messiah, y'all. So we have to look at these feast days as the Messiah could show up, y'all, at that time. We've been waiting a long time, ain't we? The knowledge of Messiah due to the internet can reach the 4 corners of the earth now, can't it?
Yes, sir.
They found the loneliest man in the jungle, found out he had died, but they had access to him. He'd been away from the public for 50 years. They've been tracking him. He finally gave up the ghost, but that's letting you know how far it traveled. Not only that, but they had a camera in there, so I could see him. I say, there he is in the bushes right there. Way over here. So y'all, it's reaching the four corners of the earth. It ain't never been able in a time in history for knowledge and news to travel the four corners of the earth like this. It's people right now in Jerusalem, because they 8 hours ahead, is up watching the class right now, but it's after midnight for them. Or wherever 8 hours from now would be. That's what time it is right now. But it's not only this, it's in what's called real time. So when the Antichrist show, you may get woke up. It may be 3 o'clock in the morning, but it may be 8 a.m. when he's going through his coronation. You got to be woke, and you're going to be witnessing just like King Charles III now. I hate to say it about the Queen, because some of y'all start crying again.
I thought I heard some sniffling.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Book of Job, chapter 2, verse 1.
Yeah.
Blow ye the trumpet in Zion.
Do what?
Blow ye the trumpet in Zion.
Hold on, I hear a few pages flipping. Y'all there?
Them in front of you.
Yeah. Read that again for me, Zaya. Yeah. Go ahead, Zaya.
Blow ye the trumpet in Zion. And sound an alarm in my holy mountain.
Yes.
Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Most High cometh.
Yes.
For it is nigh at hand.
So, you see how we got trumpets, and then we got his day is nigh at hand. It's right to close together. It's not right there, but you have to start warning people Christ on his way back. Now y'all can keep on playing him like he just that strung out hell's angel with a dirty diaper on, and you think that that's who's gonna be. I didn't come back really to kill nobody. Oh, y'all just come on in. No. If you think he gonna switch up like that, no, y'all thinking about somebody else.
Right.
Let's read some more.
Verse 2.
Yeah.
A day of darkness.
What kind of day?
A day of darkness
Uh-huh.
and of gloominess. A day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There have not been ever like, I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm going to start that whole thing.
Okay.
A day of darkness and of gloom.
Right.
A day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There have not been ever the like. Neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them.
Y'all see what's before us, y'all, as we're heading out. And look, this is the second coming. And we got Messiah. We got Matthew 24. It's a dark day, you know, because there's going to be an eclipse. The sun and the moon going to be blocked out. And Christ will be the light of the world, like he was in the beginning, like he was in Matthew 24, like Zechariah. All of it's adding up to the same thing, but the trumpet will blow first, so the day of darkness don't catch you tripping. You're being warned. It's an open book test. If you can't get your mind right, then that means you're doing what you used to do in your whole life. I'm going to wait till the very last second. Let's get some more.
The land is as the Garden of Eden before them. And behind them a desolate wilderness.
And what's behind them?
A desolate wilderness. Yeah, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of a horse. And as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the top of mountains shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble. As a strong people set in battle array. Before their face, the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march everyone his way every one on his way,
Uh-huh.
and they shall not break their ranks.
So hold right there, just real quick, Zeb. I want you to hold where you at, Nada or Ariel. Give me just Exodus 14 and start about 19, start about 18, y'all. And this is why, because when you read Ezekiel 20:33, it says our gathering is going to be just like it was in Egypt. So when we see in the book of Joel at the second comment, it says his chariots was leading the way. So if it's going to be just like Egypt, we can't use that scripture unless it lines just like how we left Egypt. The only difference is we're leaving from the four corners of the earth versus one location. But if you will, hit that real quick. Exodus 14 and start about 18.
The book of Exodus, chapter 14 and 18.
What it say?
And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Most High, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the angel of Yah, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face, and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness to them.
To them. Go ahead.
But it gave light by night to thee.
Because we left at midnight when we left out of Egypt. Everybody got up in the middle of the night. That's why we ate in haste. That's why the unleavened bread there, we couldn't wait for bread to rise. It had to be hot water cornbread. You know, hit it in that skillet, flip it, wait a few minutes, it's out the skillet. Can't have it in the oven like cornbread. Like Sister Bia making unleavened bread. Couldn't wait that time. Let's get some more.
So that the one came not near the other all the night. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. And the Most High caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided.
So y'all see how the Most High, it's the same way we'll leave, in the same way he's going to have protection in front of us and something blocking them from behind us, because they're going to be launching everything they got to kill us, to stop us from getting back. So we got to have supernatural protection, y'all. All of this just thinking we can just group up as a group of people, get our mind one second, and go back and take this nation over. What we going to do about those nuclear warheads? They still underground. They still in the hands of tyrants. You think they just going to relinquish them? What you got over there, bro?
You know, when he delivered us from Egypt the first time, you know, we didn't do anything. So why should we do something now?
Right. Look, and we was there for all 10 plagues, wasn't we? All the 10 plagues, they say not a fly moved in the land of Goshen. If you got faith, just like did none of that behavior move on Lot. It don't mean nothing because that behavior is around. He told you at the beginning, I'm sending you out among wolves. Sheep among wolves.
Right.
A chaotic situation, but I need you to know I'm always with you. You got to have faith. If everything was pleasant, why would you pray to the Most High? Right. You'll start to give up and say, hey, well, you know, I guess he got me. Ain't nothing bad done happened. It's been a year and a half, and elbow don't hurt no more. Maybe he done finally just done fix me, and I'm cool now. No,
right.
He gonna keep it on your mind, so we'll hope for paradise. Let's get some more, y'all. We can get back to that. Go ahead, sis. What you were saying?
The world.
Absolutely, sis. That's what we're talking about, because we're in this world. Y'all, and the world is set up through prophecies. If you're seeing the statue that Daniel made, you can't push that out of the way because you want to go back and start a kingdom. Then prophecy goes amiss and is void and is vain. And the Most High word will not come back void. It's not going to come back empty. Let's get some more, y'all. Let's speed this up.
Joel chapter 2, verse 8.
Yeah.
Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded.
So, y'all, this is the comfort that we have too, y'all, because they're going to be trying everything. Y'all, it's about to be a civil war in this nation, and they're going to be mad at us. They're saying we're the cause between causing these Republican Democratic parties. If we didn't attend to y'all, we would be cool. But it's y'all that's causing the problem that this nation can't get going.
That don't even make no sense.
It don't make sense, but you got to have a scapegoat. Let's read some more.
Verse 9.
Yeah.
They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark. And the stars shall withdraw their shine.
Right.
And the Most High shall utter his voice before his army. For his camp is very great. For he is strong that executed his word. For the day of the Most High is great and very terrible. And who can abide it?
So we're going to hold right there because once again it matches up with Matthew 24th chapter, y'all, of the second coming of Christ. But it's warning us the trumpet will blow. Y'all, we into some perilous times right now. Trumpets, y'all, could be a signaling of things about ready to take place, y'all. We in some terrible times right now.
Yeah, have you heard about the Safety Act starting January 1st of 23 over in Illinois?
No.
They say these under this new law, you are charged if you're charged with a crime on this list below, you are able to be released without bail pending a court date. So they said, okay, if you commit aggravated battery, aggravated DUI, aggravated fleeing, arson, burglary, drug-induced homicide, intimidation, kidnapping, robbery, second-degree murder, or threatening a public official, they'll just detain you, give you a ticket, and let you go about your day.
Y'all, that's the way Sodom and Gomorrah was.
That sounds like the purge.
Look, yeah, it's like the purge. Look, you get into Jasher, the book of Jasher, the 18th and 19th chapter, the end of the 18th chapter, like the last 10 verses, you're going to really see what Sodom and Gomorrah, and you're seeing what this nation is ready to become. Like that, that's what the hospitality will be. You'll see somebody shoot your grandmother, and then they back on the streets before the sun set. The maid bomb.
They doing it now though, because when
yeah,
I
they
go
doing it
downtown,
now. Yeah,
them little young Thundercats, they be shooting at each other, get locked up, and then I see them right back at work. I'm at work looking at them the next day. Like, what? Did you just get locked up?
Look,
yeah, my mama came and got me.
Look, downtown is supposed to be the major hub or holding spots for all travelers to come and enjoy the downtown of a city. San Francisco is shot. They let you walk up into Walgreens with a black grocery, with a black trash bag. Fill it up, and the clerk just have to stand back and let you go. Y'all, they're hitting Gucci stores, all of this, and they're in the prime area of the city where folks like to shop and feel like they in danger because order out of chaos. Do you know Buckhead in Atlanta, Georgia is trying to get their own police force? Because they're letting all them rappers in that like that stripping all night and popping bottles all night, loud music and doing donuts in the middle of the street of Buckhead, and they looking out them mansions, they like, what we gonna do? Not only that, they pulling strong arm robberies in daytime.
Yep.
You sitting out there eating, and then they just run up to you and just pull your watch off your arm while you sipping on some coffee.
They going in downtown St. Louis, they showing videos of them youngsters walking the street with their AK out. It ain't.
And the police station 3 blocks up.
Yeah, they having parties in them Airbnbs,
turning them upside down. You couldn't pay me to go downtown.
The police officers.
Huh?
They trying to defund the police officers.
Look, y'all, but for it to be that close to downtown, they have zero control of them youngsters downtown. They can make it one way, but they want it to be so chaotic. And you know, just 3 years ago, there was a loft boom down there. People was making big money. Now they Airbnb'd it, and they must have done pushed a form of Section 8 downtown that you got young violence. Look, the little girl that killed her and her best friend was in a downtown loft. When she shot him accidentally, then she shot herself. I still got the clip. and they bust in the bathroom on them. That was downtown. Yeah, downtown, y'all, is boy, it's like walking into Sodom and Gomorrah. Like I say, once you read Jasher 18th chapter, the last 10 verses, and read all of the 19th chapter of Jasher, you gonna know what this nation is finna come to and what's gonna be taking place on the streets. Y'all think it's crazy now, y'all ain't seen nothing yet. Let's get caught up, y'all. We ain't got about a half hour. What you got, Emo? Yeah, about the last 10 verses, you'll see where where the two angels were talking with Abraham, and then they saying we're going to get Lot. You know, and well, no, that's that's where the two angels went in there, because it's 18 and 19. So what you gonna see though? You gonna see the behavior though. They had beds on street corners, so it was live porn, just like we walked out there at Natural Bridge and Kings Highway. You get up there, and it's people throwing money, people getting it in, and you trying to just look straight. Don't you look! Don't you look!
You gotta straighten that hard. You got some issues.
Yo, but look, it's gonna be like mayhem, just like that commercial. That boy dancing and tore up everything, and you looking and run right to the back of a trash truck. It's gonna be mayhem out on these streets, y'all. And if they don't rob you, they robbing your car. Car break-ins are at a whole nother level, y'all.
Well, the key is
they trying to protect you. And the Kia, they done figured out how to steal them. The only way they're gonna stop it is to bring it back like horse thievery, the death penalty. They used to put you to death for stealing a horse.
Well, they letting them back out now.
Let's get some more, y'all. Where we at?
I think we're going to 1 Corinthians.
Yeah, we're going to 1 Corinthians 15:51, y'all. And what we're dealing with is the Messiah. Yeah, we're dealing with the Messiah and these feast days, because he's going to be Lord over these feast days, because he's warning us, he's lining up, y'all. These are a shadow we doing, y'all. He getting us ready and practice for his second coming, y'all. We're going to have to be able to learn how to fast at least a whole day and not think about it. I'm not talking about just rocking and looking at your watch. Almost. What they say, is they still open? Is they still open? You going to be able to go by there and pick it up at the window?
Shabbat shalom, sis.
Shabbat shalom, sis. Be careful. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 51.
How we looking, y'all? You can back it up to, you want to back it up to 45 there?
All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 45. It is sown in dishonor. No, we can't start right there.
You want to go back to, what, 38?
Oh, you did
No,
say 45. I was wrong.
Yeah.
Right. I started at 43. My bad.
Okay.
And so it is written.
And so it is what? We starting at 45.
45. And so it is written. The first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit.
So this don't talk about no other groups of people on planet Earth. It's telling you all mankind descended from Adam. There ain't nobody else on this planet that's alive that did not descend from Adam. Now you have the watchers, the work they did, but all the flesh of them died, according to Enoch, the 14th and 15th chapter of Enoch. It'll tell you now those spirits, because those angels were supernatural, those spirits are still in the earth to torment evil people. Those spirits from the giants, that's what was jumping on Saul when he would just throw a javelin at David. Those spirits of the giant is what whispered in your ear. Put a booger in that salad. That'll teach him never to let you don't want to cook nothing you done made. Put a booger in there. And you like, yeah. And you dig up to that, down to the first knuckle. That's them evil spirits. That's them spirits that won't let you rest. Soon as you find peace, here it comes and disturb everything. Go ahead.
Verse 46.
Yeah.
Howbeit that was not first, which is spiritual.
Howbeit what?
That which was not first, which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual.
So it's saying Adam was never meant to be on that spiritual level. He wasn't formed like that. Right. He was of the earth. His mother was of virgin earth. And his daddy was supernatural. He was the same way just like Messiah, but Messiah came from there. It's a total difference. He was never meant to be the Messiah. He was meant to be the ruler of planet Earth, getting his instructions from the Messiah, which was the tree of life in the garden. And his angels were in the garden. Those were the trees that Eve could eat from. But the tree of good and evil that was cast out of heaven, it said don't even touch it, don't have a conversation with it. What you got back there, Jeremiah?
Over the years that since Adam didn't come from the womb of a woman, that he didn't have a navel. You ever heard that?
He didn't have a navel, umbilical cord?
Yes, they come from the womb of a woman.
Well, he may have not had an umbilical cord, but he could have as well, but because he has to have a navel, I mean, he still was formed in the image of the Most High. If he didn't have a navel, the Most High ain't got no navel. But the navel is very important. You know, for all individual, is how food is transferred. You know, if he didn't have a navel, Eve had to have a navel made from his rib. So, you know, the connection of the two, that don't mean he didn't have it. That's like people that say the angels left their first estate, meaning, but see, they couldn't have had sex with women because angels are sexless. Where do you ever read that an angel are sexless? That ain't in the Bible nowhere. It said they had their first estate. They left that. You're a guardian. You're a watcher. You're supposed to make sure they don't get into bad sexual intercourse with the devil and his group. That's what you're supposed to do. But you got beside yourself watching the devil and his bunch and they orgies. And then you lost everything behind just watching that. So angels, that tells you there's male and female. And we finna get it in this 1 Corinthians 15:51. It's finna let us know of how we'll be in the last days. Because they asked Messiah, who wife, she had 7 husbands, who wife should she be of the 7? He said, they're not their brothers and sisters. You can't, which one you gonna pick? I mean, and why you picking Earl? You know, did he change your tire better when you was married to Timmy? No, so your brother and sister, that's all it's going to be in your mental if you died on a resurrection, or resurrected, I should say. So, y'all, it'll clear itself up down here real quickly. Go ahead, read a little bit more. But Adam had a navel as well as Eve because he was formed perfectly in the image of God. If he didn't have no navel, the Most High don't have one either. Let's get it.
Verse 48. As is the earth, as is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy.
So we just like the earth man. If he didn't have a navel, no man should have a navel. If it's starting out that way, you know what I'm saying? All boy child should not be born with a navel.
I've heard that too, though, because he's born, you know, he's created from the dust of the earth. He wasn't 9 months, you know, being fed from the umbilical cord of a woman. So he wouldn't have a navel.
But where do you see proof of that?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Well, look, he's formed by the Most High. He's forming it. So if you say he formed it without a navel, then you may be going too far. Because he's the potter. He's the clay. He's not going to say it because you didn't come from a physical woman. So what happens is these are the Hebrew 2:15 people that don't believe in the supernatural. So they'll throw that out there to try to make you think about it or get you confused. So all you have to do is just ask them the same thing. So God ain't got no navel? Just see how they answer that.
So God can't give him a navel?
Right. You know what I'm saying. But those are the questions that lead to, and what does it mean if he didn't have a navel?
Right.
But what we do know is all throughout the book of Adam, Eve, and Genesis, they had to follow the exact same course that every woman today that have a man or boy child. Adam and Eve them didn't come into the garden you know, till 40 and 80 days after they were born. Just like a boy child, 40 days before you take him to the temple, 80 days for a girl child. That was before they walked into the Garden of Eden. There's a number of days that makes her clean, even though it was like that from that. But they followed the exact rules we follow today. The exact rules. The only difference is we don't have retirement living now. We have to sweat by our brow, and women have pain during childbirth. But the same thing was set up before they sinned. It was going to be the same way. Children just was going to be born in righteousness. That's the only way, without corruptible flesh. Let's get some more, y'all. We'll see this. We're going to get this sped up. We got about 20 minutes. Let's get it.
Verse 48 again.
Yeah.
As is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy. And as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. And as we have borne the image of the earthy.
Who have we borne?
As we have borne the image of the earth, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly.
Right.
Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh. Neither doth corruption inherit incorruption.
So that's why we have to be careful when you're talking about no navels and different things. They're talking about Hebrews 2:15 on how a man was made, you know, up until the time Adam said, from Adam all the way up, but the Messiah was not. Hebrews 7:16 explains how the Messiah was born. He was born after an everlasting law, not after the fleshly law that we was in Hebrews 2:15. There's two different forms, and those people who like to say that Joseph is Christ's father will run you to Hebrews 2:15. Just kindly tell them, I see what you're saying now. Tell me, explain Hebrews 7:16 to me. What does it mean to be made under the law of an everlasting life? That's what we ask. I'm clear on how we got to make a baby.
Right, they say not after a carnal commandment.
Not after a carnal commandment. So how was he created? Then that answers how Adam was created. And did the Messiah have an umbilical cord? Did he have a navel?
That diminishes the power of the Most High when you say he ain't got no.
Yo, so what we're talking about is men, right? Men of their own mind.
To do that?
Men of their own mind start to do those things. Where we at on that?
Verse 51.
Yeah.
Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed.
Right.
We ain't gonna have no belly button.
No.
in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trump shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed.
What trump is it?
The last trump.
So see, that's preceding the second coming, and it's talking about Christ, and it say, neither doth corruption put on incorruption. So if you die and you have the mindset that you be, how then do you be resurrected? Or there's no resurrecting in your game plan. You're done when you die, because it has to put on incorruption. If you don't believe in the Shalom, I push.
Shalom, family.
Shalom, Sister Push. How y'all doing? You said you were going to slide on down here, didn't you? Said you were going to slide on in here, didn't you, Push? Let's get some more.
Verse 53.
Yeah.
For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality.
See, it has to. It's not saying if it do it or why do it. It's saying it must put on immortality. Y'all, we going to a whole different level. If you're teaching, now they're teaching you a doctrine that you're one and done, you're done when you're through here.
Right.
Then what's the use of going to church?
Right.
What's the use of doing right? There's no punishment for me.
Right.
So y'all, that's what they're teaching when they start asking those belly button questions.
No punishment, no reward.
Let's get some more. What else to say?
Verse 54.
Yeah.
So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin.
What is the sting of death?
The sting of death is sin. And the strength of sin is the law.
What's the strength of sin?
The law.
See, the law keeps you from sinning. It's the strength you need to stop sinning. It's not hard. If somebody asks you, man, can't nobody keep the law, just kindly just sit back and just ask him, which one? And watch that space of silence that come in. Because the wheels are turning now, because they're going to say, naturally they're going to say the one they can't keep. Man, can't nobody stop from molesting a baby? And you be like, wait a minute, what you saying? I was talking about Harvey Weinstein. No, you wasn't.
No, you finna get busted.
Yeah, look here. Let's get some more.
Where the baby at?
Yeah.
Verse 57. But thanks be to Yahweh, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable.
On what?
Unmovable. Always abound in the work of the Most High. For as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Most High.
See, it's not in vain because he could come at any time and give you your reward. The wicked will see you getting and they be like, damn, he waited it out. We should have waited. You can't find yourself being like the thief on the cross on the left side of Messiah. They're saying he can't save himself. How he gonna get us down? You just won't out because you got caught. So y'all, we rolling through that. Let's hit this last one. 1 Thessalonians 4:13. Then we're gonna hit Revelation 11. Y'all, we'll run through these atonements. Y'all, we'll close on out as we relate them to the Messiah, because everything has to be related to him. Y'all, and the main thing is, where there's no law, there's no sin.
Right.
And if you hear people talking about the scriptures and they're talking about what you must do, and they're speaking from the order of Aaron, then they got you back in kindergarten telling you you must be able to chew a steak and cut it.
Right.
And know how to eat your salad, the salad fork versus this fork. You know, they're putting you in a position like that, and it's just the schoolmaster. You're going to always be behind the 8 ball. Because you still have to get bulls and goats to sacrifice if you don't believe in the Messiah. If you don't believe in his incorruption, then you're going to have to go find somebody that's not in that state. And I don't know who you're going to go get. Because he was totally without sin. If it was that easy, we have 2 or 3 other people on the list. Man, that could be Easy Willie Jackson. No.
Easy Willie Jackson?
Yeah, Easy Willie Jackson. It would have been that. But it's only one on this planet that nobody argues with, because the law is right there to verify everything that he is, because he is the law. That's why Paul said, y'all got beef with me, just go to the law. Like I said, I do everything from the law and the prophets. All y'all have to do is go to the law and the prophets and tell me if I'm a liar, because that's what I'm going to be judged by, the law and the prophets. I ain't going to be judged by you talking about he had a squab with Peter and James, about who ate the last piece of cornbread, and, you know, somebody ate up the bunch of grapes, and this is what you talking about. This is the argument you making, when all you have to do is go to the law and say, right here, he broke this. But you know why they can't do that? Because they're doing the same exact thing. They don't believe the law. They don't believe the dietary law. They don't believe the Messiah. They're Sadducees and Pharisees. They don't believe in angels. They don't believe in the resurrection. So naturally, you're going to come at Paul differently than the law, because then you have to play by the law. And your doctrine and behavior says you don't care nothing about the law because you ain't got no end game. Let's get some up. Real quick, y'all, 1 Thessalonians 4:13 through 17. Then we're going to jump right into Revelation 7, y'all. We just doing trumpets with the Messiah. Who got it? What's going on, Zed? Doing some serious chuckle.
Nat, Tony.
Oh, go ahead, Nat.
It's on me.
Yeah.
All right. You said 1 Thessalonians 4.
Yeah, 1 Thessalonians 4th chapter, y'all.
We want to start in 1.
13.
Yeah.
All right, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13.
I tell you what, bag it up. Verse 9.
All right, verse 9. But as touching brotherly love, ye need not that I write unto you. For ye yourselves are taught of God to love one another.
See, Paul said, I ain't got to keep going over that with y'all. Y'all taught that. That's in the 10 Commandments. Y'all been knowing what brotherly love is. Mm-hmm. Do as to others as you would have them do unto you.
Right.
That's brotherly love. Go ahead.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
And indeed ye do it toward all the brethren which are in all Macedonia. But we beseech you, brethren, that ye increase more and more.
What we got to do?
Increase more and more.
See, you have to increase. If you keep talking about I cut the head off a Christian preacher and nothing like that, and you ain't got nobody that you done put the head back on, you ain't got a Frankenstein disciple nowhere. You just cut people's heads off and land them in the gutter. You ain't putting their head back on like the Messiah put the earth back on the Roman soldier. You ain't got nobody. All you got is people you done killed. And you're telling us about it like that's what we should be understanding. That's the war before the second coming. Mm-hmm. Let's get some more.
Verse 11.
Yeah.
And that ye study to be quiet.
Study to be what?
Quiet.
Uh-huh.
And to do your own business.
Right.
And to work with your own hands as we commanded you.
Right.
That ye may walk honestly toward them that are without, and that ye may have lack of nothing.
See, always running your mouth cause some problems for you. Study to be quiet, learn and understand. Always running your mouth cause problems if you don't know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Let's get some more.
Verse 13. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep.
Concerning them that are what?
Are asleep.
That means dead already. Go ahead.
That ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him.
See, he's going to bring them with him because we're just reading about the saints coming with the Most High. So don't be worried about them who already died. If they're Messiah, they good. You're going to see them again, but they're going to be coming back as warriors. Let's get some more.
Verse 14.
Yeah.
No, verse 15, I'm sorry. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep.
So those that give their life will gain their life. So a lot of times you'll see those that are left alive, the Most High gonna spare a few of us because he gonna put on you more than you can bear. He may not put death on you at that point, but that means since you may have cowered out at the end, or not saying cowered out, but death was too great for you at that point, he just said, no, I ain't gonna do that to you. You can't prevent those that died in the way of the Lord because you still alive. No, they got to march through them gates first because they laid their life down. So they get first dibs. Let's get some more.
Verse 16.
Yeah.
For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet of God.
And with the what?
The trump of God. And the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the earth, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words.
So you'll have the Christian doctrine just only read verse 16 on down. But they miss at the last trump, the trump of God, which is always the last trump. So they've been here for 6 woes and still talking about a rapture. See, they don't even understand the trumps because the trumpets are not taught to them. They just think one day they'll just get a pair of wings and be out of here. But the last trump has to sound. There's 7 trumpets. 6 of them are woes upon the earth, and you're still here. You ain't left in the rapture. You're up to trumpet number 7. But notice how they start them in that verse right there that voids the trump of God. They don't want them to see that no more than when a preacher tell you we don't teach the book of Revelation. It scares the people. So the second coming of Christ, how he's going to return, scares the people. It ought to scare the hell out of you.
verse 18 say, comfort each other with these.
Yes, sir.
So look,
Yeah.
so the dead in Christ, so that means like Gideon, Samson, David,
Job,
Joshua, son of Nun, all
yes.
coming back
All of
together
them.
at the same time.
All of them with him. With an arm. Coming to arm. Look, China got a billion-man arm. China could take most nations with a broomstick, and they got AKs. You just have to let them through in waves. And before you can load up again, and they're going to beat you with them sticks, and then here come another 100,000 and will beat you to smithereens with a billion-man army. And you playing ground game. They'll overpower you. Y'all done seen the movies? They send them in waves like that. You can only shoot so many before you have to reload. By the time that they on the wall, they on the windshield of your car. Go ahead, bro. Revelation 11. Y'all, we ain't got long. We got about 15 minutes, y'all.
Where you want to start at 11?
Start at verse 1, y'all, because this is also giving us the time period concerning when the Messiah gonna come back, y'all, because there has to be a trumpet blowing, and there has to be atonement, and then there'll be a day of the Lord, and pushes us into the Feast of Tabernacles. Y'all, all this is winding up the same way, y'all. Y'all, we cannot, at the Day of Atonement, go right back to the way we were. Let's get it. Where we at?
Revelation chapter 11, verse 1.
Yes, sir.
And there was given me a reed like unto a rod.
Uh-huh.
And the angel stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of Yahweh, and the altar, and them that worship therein.
Uh-huh.
But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. And the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months.
Uh-huh.
And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth.
So this is talking about the reign of the Antichrist. So y'all, we seeing around this time, and he gonna give his 2 witnesses, and they're into the Day of Atonement, because what are they doing in sackcloth? Clothed in sackcloth. And when you put on sackcloth, what are you doing? You fasting. You're putting on sackcloth. It's wartime. These 2 individuals going up against the king, who's gonna be the king of earth and in charge of every army on earth. Is only 2 of them gonna go deal with them. Let's read some more.
Verse 4.
Yeah.
These are the 2 olive trees, and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth.
And you read about them in Zechariah 4, those 2 olive trees. Go ahead.
And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, and devoureth their enemy. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed.
So you don't want to come up against them, because no, that won't be bad breath. That's fire coming out from the Lord, and they will be killed. They'll speak words of death, and that's what it'll be. They'll speak the words of death like John the Baptist was doing on the Pharisees. Who brought y'all out here? You know, to hear the word of y'all shaking at a stick in the wind. You vipers, you serpents. John the Baptist would cuss a Pharisee out. If you said that today, what would you say? If you called a man or a woman that today the same way John the Baptist did, you serpent, you viper, everybody be like, damn, what the hell going on over there? Might better call the police around here. That means you're a snake, you're no good. Your belly is low as a footprint. Go ahead. The 2 sticks? Yeah. No, the 2 candlesticks are what this is exactly saying. They're witnesses. They're out of the tribes of Israel. But these 2 candlesticks, this is you got IUIC, them teach that's Israel and Judah, the 2 candlesticks. but we ain't going up against nobody. And they sure ain't teaching us to go up with nobody. All they got is a bunch of people dressed in uniform with Masonic aprons on, marching behind the Masons in a parade. If that's the army you got, you know that ain't gonna do nothing with this. So no, that's what they try to get over and say it's a nation of Israel, but we can clearly see these are two separate individuals, not the 10 tribes and the 2 tribes, Judah and Benjamin. No, it ain't them. They're not the 2 olive branches. These are 2 witnesses, because remember, it still has to go down according to Ezekiel 20:33, like we left Egypt. Who faced Moses? Was it all 12? Faced Pharaoh. Was it all 12 tribes? No. Who was it? It was 2, wasn't it? To face the king of planet Earth, and he was the king of planet Earth at that time. Egypt was ruling planet Earth. Everybody was going there to eat. Egypt was the powerhouse. Go ahead, what you got, bro? Let's finish that.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
Verse 6. These have power to shut heaven.
What they have power to do?
Shut heaven.
Uh-huh.
That it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as oft as they will. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them.
So the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit, Revelation 9 talk about him. In the Hebrew name is Abaddon, right? And Greek is Apollyon, but it's that same beast that lived on earth. So the Antichrist will be thrust from the other side of paradise, from torments, back on this earth. A lot of candidates, y'all, because it's called perdition. When you ever read somebody went to perdition, they went right to that side. Paradise on this side, there's a great gulf in the middle, and then you got torments. That's where you go when they say you went to perdition. Judas Iscariot went to perdition. Nero Caesar went to perdition. So all of the people who could be candidates could be one thrust from perdition to battle the 2 witnesses. And let's see what else is going to happen. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 8.
Yeah.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
And so it's no coincidence that right now Jerusalem, because our Messiah was crucified in Jerusalem on the hill of Golgotha, the skull. They're saying which is now spiritually Sodom, because they lead the way in the gay pride parade. And it's just like Sodom and Gomorrah there right now. The hospitality against the other nations who was there before they got there is at a whole nother level. So spiritually, we get a look at the homeland, but it's always been the land of Canaan. It's always been the offspring of Ham that's into high spiritual sexual fornication and immortality. Not immortality, immorality. Yeah, thank you, bro. Go ahead.
Verse 9.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Yeah.
And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
So they're going to leave them out on the ground for display. Those that oppose the Antichrist, because to the world it's going to be like, now if y'all think how they defending Donald Trump, what y'all think they're going to do with the Antichrist? And you got somebody going up against him. Go ahead.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. And after 3 days and half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven.
What did they do?
Ascended up to heaven in a cloud. And their enemies beheld them.
So we see again, died once on this earth. Now these 2 witnesses, we can get into some lost books that'll tell you who it was. It was Enoch and Elijah because they're the only ones so far that has not tasted physical death. And the lost books tell you these two witnesses are Enoch and Elijah. Some people think it may be Elijah and Moses because Moses was brought up in the Mount of Transfiguration with Elijah. But that will put Moses on this earth again after dying under this sun. So it won't be him, it eliminates him. That was just the Messiah showing the disciples, you know, I got the top two prophets and the top priest here, and I'm Lord over both of them. So that was a totally different thing. What you got back there, F? The Bible ain't never said that. It said he came in the spirit and power of Elijah. So that means just like Elisha, the student of Elijah, he asked for a double portion of his spirit. So who was he? There's Elisha, the prophet, and then he had a student, Elisha. Before he was called away, he said, I need a double portion of your spirit. It's two separate individuals. He said, you asked a hard thing, but if you watch me leave, you're going to get it. And so when he was carried away, he looked down and the spirit fell on him of Elijah, and he had the double portion. The first thing he did is split the water.
So you saying like the prophecy of Malachi 4, right? Where it talks about he was going to sing loud before that great day.
Right.
And then Yeshua came back and said, well, this is for whoever heard the period. This is John the Baptist.
Well, I'm saying, with that great and terrible day, then that great and terrible day, John the Baptist, we'd be in the second coming already. Because that before the great and terrible day, if he was John the Baptist, either the great and terrible day was the crucifixion or it's the second coming. So if he's John the Baptist, it's got to be the second coming because that's the great and terrible day. We ain't read no more that the sun gonna be darkened. Now, it got dark at the crucifixion, but that wasn't a great and terrible day because Elijah wasn't there. We're talking about Elijah who's supposed to show up on the Feast of Tabernacles. You have a lot of Edomites that have set a table for Elijah. They saying that. But look, let me ask you this so we can move on. They asked John the Baptist, are you that prophet Elijah? What did he say? He said what?
He said,
who did he say he was?
He said his voice going around the river.
That's what we talking about. So he didn't know. No, I'm saying. The disciples knew John the Baptist. He's only 6 months. He was 6 months older than Messiah, right? Peter, Paul, James, and John knew who John the Baptist was, right? They grew up together. So if you're on the Mount of Transfiguration and you got Elijah, they ain't ever seen Elijah. He lived 3,000 years before them. It'd be easy to say, should we make 3 pillars? One for Moses, and they ain't never seen Moses. So who was Moses at that time? Because Elijah, if he was John the Baptist, the disciples would say, hell, that's John the Baptist. That ain't Elijah. And who would be Moses at that point? See, so you can't have one resurrected and the other ones you don't pay no mind to because you're misreading the scripture. These are people that believe in reincarnation versus resurrection. They're two different things. You only come in the spirit of Elijah. That means that wasn't even Elijah's spirit. That was a spirit from the Most High called a warrior spirit. It's that spirit that men fight that goes on different people. Samson had that spirit. David had that spirit of Elijah, and that means a warrior spirit given by the Holy Spirit. It goes back because when a man dies, it say the spirit go back to man. Go back to God, and he gives it to another. But if there's a judgment day, which one of y'all standing in line at the judgment day? Especially if you done something wrong. No, now see, I was dead and you came back as him. That wasn't me raped that lady. Go ahead.
It don't say that though.
It don't say what?
It say Matthew chapter 11.
What it say?
It say 11. It say for all the prophets and the law prophesied to John.
Right.
And if you receive it, this is Elijah, which was for to come.
Okay.
He was basically the prophecy in Malachi chapter 4.
What you got is that you got Elijah dying twice on planet Earth. So either you got him coming back and dying again. Look, you can't die twice under this. Hebrews 9:27. It's appointed for man to do what? And then it's the what? So you can't have him dying twice. He can't be reincarnated. That's twice under this sun. No man has lived under this sun and died twice on planet Earth. Okay.
Malachi chapter 4. Malachi chapter 4.
I know where you're going, bro. We understand what you're saying. What you have to explain is, you have to explain reincarnation to us. Well, what is regeneration? Yeah.
Through the bloodline, through the seed.
That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. That ain't regeneration. I'm asking you what. If we look at regeneration, will it say what you just said? Yeah, will it say what you just said? Through the seed. No, I'm just asking you because you threw it out there. So I'm just asking you because we have to move on. But what I'm asking you, you have to make sure you know the words before you tell them, before you tell us. Because see, we'll look at regeneration. It's not resurrection, nor is it reincarnation. Reincarnation means to come back. You can come back as anything. You can come back as a German Shepherd. Look up resurrection says to come back in the same body. Reincarnation means to come back as anything else. You can come back as Duke the German Shepherd. They'd be like, man, I believe. Well, why don't you? Reincarnation don't mean you come back to the same people. I'm asking you this. Then you got tribe jumping. So what tribe was Elijah? And what tribe was John the Baptist? What was John the Baptist? Levite, right? What was Elijah? The Tishbite. What was he? What tribe was he from?
What tribe was that?
Elijah. You can't have tribe jumping in reincarnation because now you're breaking marriage law. See, bro, that's what I'm saying. It's a slippery slope when you try to force reincarnation and you try to use the word regenerate. It still ain't going to make it resurrection. Resurrection is you stand there for your crimes. There's nobody going to stand for David, King David, for what he did to Bathsheba. Nobody but King David. He's not going to come back. He won't be Marshall like they said in one West Camp. Somebody that was an alcoholic and was only 5'1". I'm talking about if he was a foot taller, they'll call him short. So that's all I'm saying, bro. Reincarnation, regeneration. What we're asking you to do is just look it up now while we roll on, and you tell us what it means as soon as you look it up. Yeah, look it up. Let's roll. No, just look it up. You can Google it. No, Google it, bro. No, we want you to Google it. Well, somebody Google it for regeneration. Let's get it, y'all. We got to roll. Revelation 11. You in
14?
13, yeah.
13. Alright, Revelation chapter 11, verse 13.
What it say?
In the same hour was there a great earthquake.
Right.
And the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. And the remnant were affrighted. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
And gave glory to the God of heaven.
Who they give glory to?
The God of heaven. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And the seventh angel sounded.
And what was the number of that angel?
The seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven, saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before God on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped God,
right,
saying, we give thee thanks, O Lord God Almighty, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets and to the saints.
So if we got reincarnation, then that means every time this person came back as Elijah and in the form of John the Baptist, both of them have to be standing at the judgment throne to take punishments as the spirit of Elijah. But it says the spirit, not the soul of Elijah. The spirit and the soul are two separate things.
Absolutely.
Right? Right? Because you'll never see it say all souls are mine, and the souls will be judged. The soul that doeth this, you will never see the spirit that doeth this, and the spirit that doeth that. It's the soul. The spirit is the breath of life.
But it don't say that the spirit. It don't say that the spirit of God. That's not what the scripture says.
It don't say he's reincarnated.
It don't say the spirit.
It say if you could receive it, it's like John the Baptist. All throughout these were script. Look, Rachel died at 54 years old before they went into Egypt. But Jeremiah lived 600 years after we come out of Egypt. And then you got Matthew, and both of them saying, Rachel weeping for her children because of the destruction of Jerusalem. She never even went into Egypt. So when we're talking about dual prophecies, it's a prophecy, some say it, but it meant for a future time, not for you to look at it this way. You can't defeat the law and then say it's something else. It's appointed to man to die once. If you reincarnated, how many times will you die? Or how many times can you die? If you reincarnate now, you die today and you come back tomorrow as who? Lazarus came out of the grave after 4 days, didn't he? Was it the same Lazarus? Was it the same Lazarus? So what's happening there? So we got reincarnation and resurrection?
No,
I'm just asking you.
I'm not saying it's facts, but I believe that we live on through our property, through our seed, through our children.
Through our children?
Through our seed, yeah.
But your children, we're going to get some Ezekiel 18. We'll clear that up in Ezekiel 18, so we'll clear all of that up. We'll clear all of that up. Did you do anything your forefathers did in Jerusalem? Did you do what they did in Jerusalem? Your forefathers? Huh? Why are you here? Right now in America. We'll roll up. We got to roll up, but we'll get to it. We're going to answer with the scripture, bro. Cause, like I say, we have to deal with science fact, not science fiction. There's nowhere in here. In the spirit, not in the soul. I'm asking you, is soul and spirit the same thing? Is it the same thing? When he created Adam, did he create him a spirit or did he create him a soul? I'm just asking. Did he create him a spirit or a soul? With a soul. So I'm asking you, are spirits judged or souls judged? So every man has his own soul, right? Every man must sit on his own tongue. Right. Ezekiel 4:14, Ezekiel 4:20 as well, or 14:4 and 14:20. It say every man must stand on his own tongue. No man will be able to say nothing for another man. You can't have it, bro. It's just not there when you teach reincarnation because it leaves the door open for law breaking. Right. If you come back as a Gadite, in this life you was a Judite, then that's a problem at Judgment Day. What tribe do you get judged from? Is Christ, let me ask you this, did Christ come back as somebody else when he came back to talk to the disciples? Was that another person? No, I'm saying when Christ came back at the 10. Yeah, go ahead. But I'm saying, was that a different Christ? That had the nails in his hands? So what I'm saying is this the master teacher. Go ahead, bro. Hold on, we gotta move on, bro. Go ahead.
Read this whole Luke 1.
What it say?
It's talking about John the Baptist.
What it say?
And it says, and he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elijah.
In the what?
Spirit and power.
It's in the spirit
of Elijah. To turn the hearts of the father to the children and the disobedient to the wisdom of the judge.
So when you look at both of their lives, Elijah turned the hearts of the children of men, the Baal prophets. When he killed all of them, a lot of men turned. John the Baptist turned a lot of people too. It's just in that same fire.
But like he was saying, it's the spirit, not the soul.
Two different things.
The spirit, when you die, it goes back to the Most High. Like the body returns to the dust. But your soul, it'll be judged. Whether it's going to everlasting life or everlasting damnation. But the spirit be recycled. You know what I'm saying?
Continue to get
recycled. So, like it said, even in the spirit and the power.
It's somebody before, it's spirit. Not soul.
Well, we got to read on though, bro. We'll pick it up. Where we at on this?
I think I stopped at 18.
Yeah, you good right there. We'll stop at 18. Y'all read the rest. We gonna just real quick. because that was trumpets. We're going to hit atonement. We got some quick ones on these, just one-liners. And we'll tabernacle one line out, y'all. We'll close out. We was about an hour late today, so we're going to finish up at 5:30. So atonement, y'all. So we cool on the last trump. Everything we read, those scriptures tell you the Christ is coming back at the last trump, the seventh trump. And he's going to rain vengeance down. So we have to be prepared when we hear his alarm go off. It won't be Israel. Israel can't even get together now. And what nation you going to overpower? How you going to take these nuclear warheads? Look, if the Ku Klux Klan ran through here on January the 1st, we through. Because we done shot up every bullet we have on New Year's Eve. We wouldn't stand a chance. And there ain't never been a race war in America. There's been race massacres. We ain't never stood a chance against nobody. The Christ is our power.
That's right.
So we have to understand that, man. It says, many shall see Abraham, come and sit down with him, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They won't be nobody else. It ain't nobody else came in the spirit and power of Abraham. What I'm saying is the Bible is consistent. That's why he resurrected, and then Lazarus resurrected as the same individual. When they said, yeah, we know we'll see our brother at the last day, he said, you're going to see your brother in a few minutes. Now, he didn't say, who is that? That was their same brother, right? He said he'd been in the grave 4 days. He what? He stinketh. When you look up reincarnation, just look it up. It say to come back in any form again. You don't get to pick, I want to come back as Israel. You can come back as he hung high. You could be a Chinese.
You have aspirations.
Go ahead. Boy, you don't come back as he hung high. Go ahead, bro. Let's finish up. Atonement, y'all. Leviticus 17 and 11. We're going to hit 1 Peter 2. Hebrews 9, but we're going to make sure so you get the understanding of nobody can take nobody's sins. We're going to hit Ezekiel 18. We close out. Let's get that real quick. Leviticus 17 and 11. And y'all, this is the atonement, the blood atonement that Christ had to be the blood atonement. He had to be. Nobody else could give their blood. Leviticus 17 and 11. Let's get that real quick, y'all. Let's move on through 1 Peter 2. And then we're going to hit Hebrews 9 to tell us why he's the blood atonement. We don't do blood and calves no more. We'll skip that 1 John and we'll get right to Chronicles where they talk about how the Feast of Tabernacles was rekindled and given back to the hearts of men. Go ahead. Where we at? Leviticus 17:11. Let's get it. Who got it? Use it.
Leviticus chapter 17, verse 11.
Yes, sir.
For the life of the flesh is in the blood.
What is the life of the flesh?
In the blood.
Uh-huh.
And I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your soul.
So the life, that's what we used to do. The life of the blood, we used to have to spill the blood of an animal to make your sins be washed away. Y'all, if we still under that today, y'all, it wouldn't be no animals left on earth. The only thing that be left is a pit bull. What else we got? What else to say? Is that cool?
For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul.
What is it?
It is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul.
I see spirit.
No, it's the blood.
That make atonement for the what?
Soul.
For the spirit.
For the soul.
For the soul. It's always going to be soul. Soul is different from the spirit. The spirit supercharges the soul. The spirit is given to souls. The spirit was given to Judas Iscariot, and he blasphemed against the Holy Spirit. He denied he knew the Messiah, and his soul went to hell, not his spirit. Because God gave him the spirit to cast out demons. He just didn't use it to cast it out of himself. But you'll never see the spirits of men being judged. You will never, ever, ever see it in these pages. It's the soul. Adam was made a soul. We just read it earthly. The second man was made spiritual. Now, if you want to talk about him being spirit, he's the son of the spirits. then we got something totally different what we're talking about. We're talking about manifested with all the gifts. Those are the spirit, the gifts. When you read 1 Corinthians 12, you understand what I'm saying, brother. The spirit. It gives the gifts to the souls. Let's read some more, y'all. Where we at? Just hit that real quick. 1 Peter chapter 2, 24. We're just gonna hit just a few in Hebrews 9, y'all. Then we go these one-liners on the tabernacles, y'all. We're gonna close on out with John 7.
1 Peter chapter 2, verse 24.
Yes, sir. And we're gonna see the blood of Christ because he's the atonement for sin. We can't kill bullocks and animals no more. That's out the window. We don't do it no more.
Right.
That's under Aaron.
Yeah.
Christ say, I'm the life and the resurrection. We just read 1 Corinthians. Those that are resurrected to life or resurrected to what? You can't keep coming back to get it right. If it is, I got 100 more times to come back. Everybody in here do, except it's a child in here under the age of accountability. All of us in here gonna be back again. That's the only reason you would come back. What you coming back for? To do what? I mean, how hard is this to get it right, to do the law? You get a second chance to come back and do it again? No. Most High say it's going to be a judgment day. What you got over there, sis? Start at 20? 1 Peter 2 and 20, we start there. Let's get it, y'all. We gotta move on. Let's get it, y'all. We're gonna start that, sis. Go ahead.
1 Peter chapter 2, verse 20.
What say?
For what glory is it if when ye be buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently? But if when ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently. This is acceptable with Yahweh.
That's right.
For even hereunto were ye called, because Yahweh shall also suffer for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps. Who did no sin.
Who did what?
No sin. Neither was guile found in his mouth.
So we got right here, he did no sin. There was no law broken found in him, nor guile. He never said a despicable word. He never tricked anybody with the law of anything. He did no sin. Now, who else in the Bible can we say that? Then, let's keep reading.
Verse 23.
Yeah.
Who, when he was revealed not again.
Reviled
not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judgeth righteously. Who his own self bare our sins in his own body on the tree, that we, being dead to sin, should live unto righteousness, by whose stripes ye are healed. For ye were as sheep going astray, but are now returned unto the shepherd and bishop of your soul.
The bishop of your spirit.
Of your soul.
Of your inner being.
No, is he soul?
Of your soul. See, so you're going to keep seeing soul. You're going to keep seeing soul because your soul is your consciousness. That's your inner man. That's nobody else's consciousness for your own. It's like twins have different fingerprints. You got an identical twin. You'll be able to separate them by their fingerprints. And look identical, so souls are alike. A soul, you were the only individual, you were formed by God, and he puts a spirit in you to make you breathe, and he take that spirit back from you, and I'll give it to somebody else that wants it. And their soul will be supercharged with it. That's all it means, bro. It ain't the other way around. Let's get some more. Let's give me Hebrews 9 real quick. We're just gonna read the first 5 of them, and then we'll jump right to the tabernacle. Where you at?
Hebrews chapter 9, verse 1.
What'd it say?
Then verily the first covenant had also ordinances of divine service, and a worldly sanctuary.
Right.
For there was a tabernacle made, the first, wherein was the candlestick, and the table, and the showbread, which is called the sanctuary.
Right.
And after the second veil, the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all.
So hold on, we're going to skip on down now, verse 8. We're going to read down for time's sake. Y'all read the whole 9th chapter because it tells you the switch in priesthood that we don't sacrifice bulls and goats no more. We go through the Messiah.
Verse 8.
Yeah.
The Holy Ghost, this signifying that the way unto the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while as the first tabernacle was yet standing.
Meaning that Aaron's tabernacle, there was no way into the second. So when the Messiah was crucified, that veil tore in half and it split open. Now every man could look back there because that was until the Messiah came. So you can then see what was back there. But when Messiah came, the tabernacle moved to the heavens. You know, so now that's why anybody you can go on a tour and look in the old temple of what the holies of holies used to be. When man just had to go back there because Aaron had to sacrifice for himself first and then for the people. He was never on Christ's level. He never gave his life for the people. If he had sin on him, that's why they had bells on the bottom of their robe. They would shake that rope every now and then to see if he's still in the holies of holies. When he kicked back, the bells would ring. When they shake that and no bell ring after a while, then they just pull him on out. Yeah, he done did something he wasn't supposed to do. You going up in the holies of holies and you full of stank and sin? No, you're going to be killed first. Let's read some more. Where we at? No, I want you to read just a little bit of that down to 12, 8 to 12.
Verse 9.
Yeah.
Which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the service perfect as pertaining to the conscience.
As pertaining to the what?
The conscience.
See, we're talking about the soul. It could not make you perfect under Aaron, pertaining to the consciousness. Because if you got to keep wearing fringe, you got to keep wearing outer things to make you do right, then your conscience is jacked up. You just saying, I hope don't nobody catch me. And if they do catch me, then I'll say I'm sorry then. You're not sorry because you broke God's law in your conscious mind. That's against what God thinks. Well, if they don't catch me, I ain't got to say nothing. See, that was for that time. But Christ is about your consciousness. Let's get some more.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
Which stood only in meats and drinks, and divers washings, and carnal ordinances, imposed on them until the time of
the Reformation. So the time of Reformation was Christ taking over the priesthood. See, anybody that teaching that doctrine, see, when you don't hear Aaron or the order of Melchizedek, what priesthood we under? Why are we under that? It was prophesied, right? In Psalm 110, Hebrews 7 chapter. So if you don't hear priesthood, and that's what we're looking for. Priesthood when we hear what you're saying. You know, that's like water baptism. It don't trump baptism by fire. Because everybody went through the Red Sea and said they were baptized and didn't get wet. So baptism ain't water immersion only then, right? Let's read some more. Where we at?
Verse 11.
Yeah.
But Christ being come in high priest.
What he become?
In high priest of good things to come, by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building, neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood he entered in once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us.
See, so, and when you saying right now, bulls and goats' blood can't do nothing for us. Nothing for us. You through. So real quick, y'all, we finished atonement. Just tabernacles, y'all, we're going to hit 2 where we know we fall off, y'all, and the laws become a strange thing. Our feast days have become a strange thing. Do you know how important it is to keep these feasts? He said, I'll cut you off. You don't keep the feast. So we'll just read where we restored the Feast of Tabernacle. His 2 Chronicles 5 and 3. And we'll jump right to 2 Chronicles 17. We'll close out with John 7, the Messiah at the Feast of Tabernacle. And y'all, what we want to do is tie him to all of these feast days because everything seemed to be around that same time. But real quick, what's that? Give me what's that? I want Ezekiel 4. No, give me Ezekiel 14 real quick. I want y'all to go ahead. We're going on to the Second Chronicles, but I just want Nat Turner to read something for me. Ezekiel 14.
Oh, Ezekiel 14.
14 and 14, and then jump down to verse 20. This is something very important, bro. I want you to understand this just a little bit.
All right, Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 14.
What it say?
Though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should deliver but their own souls, but their righteousness.
Read that again. Go ahead, read that again.
Though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job.
We know who they are, right? Noah on the ark, Daniel in the lion's den, and Job, who suffered many years from the attack of Satan. Go ahead.
Were in it.
They were in the world. Go ahead.
They should deliver but their own souls.
But their own what?
Souls. By their righteousness, saith the Lord.
So
God.
they can't be anybody else. Go ahead, jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20.
Yeah.
Though Noah, Daniel, and Job were in it, as I live, saith the Lord God, they shall deliver neither son nor daughter.
That kills the seed doctrine. Go ahead.
They shall but deliver their own souls by their righteousness.
See, you can't opt out to come back and do righteousness through your offspring. No, he punished the offspring for 4 generations. He don't care about that's your child, they ain't did nothing. They got to pay for your crime, but they won't be judged by those crimes. But he say, I'm going to take 4 generations before I restore what you did, and then I'm going to still get you on Judgment Day. Look, and the Messiah said, look, if you go to a house and knock on the door and they turn you away, he said it's going to be better or easier for the victims of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. So Sodom and Gomorrah ain't even been judged yet. They just was annihilated for their bad behavior. They still face judgment. They still face judgment. That wasn't judgment. That was just for bad behavior. Most I got tired of it. I'm going to get you off the earth. It's time for you to quit all this. I can smell it up here. Like they say how New Orleans smell on French Street. It smell like grease, butter, and buttocks. And the same way in Los Angeles, you can smell the stench. They say you can smell the stench on that star, where they put them stars at. You can smell it, just smell like fornication. And that smell finally reaches up to heaven. And the Most High say, I got to get rid of that stank down here. It done reached up to here. You know, like how you can smell something, you keep opening up something. You're like, wait a minute. I'm all the way back here in the back room. Every time you open that refrigerator, something stank in there. Something in there.
Everything must go.
I keep smelling it. We got to get it out of there. Don't you get it out of there?
Yes.
And Judgment Day is when the trash truck come and get it.
Yes.
Where we at? Let's get 2 Chronicles 5 and 3. Get that for me real quick. And we'll hit the same 2 Chronicles 1 through 4. Y'all, we'll close out. We'll finish with John. We'll give you Nehemiah and Zechariah for homework. Because we right at the 5:30 hour, y'all. We want to get on out of here. 2 Chronicles 5. Who got it?
Nat Turner.
Nat Turner? Did it roll all the way around right there?
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Right.
He starts
okay.
himself in the head.
Yeah.
He must be getting old.
Yeah. Where we at?
You said 2 Chronicles 5?
Yeah.
3.
He is a year older than me.
All right.
6 months.
2 Chronicles chapter 5, verse 3. Wherefore all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto the king and the feast, which was in the 7th month.
So everybody assembled themselves to the king. What's the feast in the 7th month?
Trumpet, tabernacle.
Now, y'all, this is Solomon mimicking or the shadow before Messiah would come. You got the whole nation of Israel, and you got the Feast of Tabernacles. You got everybody coming up, and he's out on the porch. And we're into what feast is this? The 7-day feast. Let's read some more. Go ahead.
Verse 4.
Yeah.
And all the elders of Israel came, and the Levites took up the ark. And they brought up the ark and the tabernacle of the congregation, and all the holy vessels that were in the tabernacle. These did the priests and the Levites bring up. Also King Solomon And all the congregation of Israel that were assembled unto him before the ark sacrificed sheep and oxen, which could not be told nor numbered for multitude. And the priest brought in the ark of the covenant of the Lord unto his place, to the oracle of the house, and to the most holy place, even under the wings of the cherubim.
Y'all can read all that as y'all go forward, and you'll see what Solomon was doing, because he was preparing the Feast of Tabernacles. We're in the 7-month feast, and you read on down, you'll see, and it was 7 days that passed. Okay, hit 7 real quick. The same 2 Corinthians 7, 1 through 4. 7 Chronicles, I'm sorry.
All right, 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 1. Now when Solomon had made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices. And the glory of the Lord filled the house.
Right.
And the priest could not enter into the house of the Lord, because the glory of the Lord had filled the Lord's house. And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire came down and the glory of the Lord upon the house, they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement, and worshiped and praised the Lord, saying, For he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Then the king and all the people offered sacrifices before the Lord. Keep going.
Yeah.
And King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 22,000 oxen and 120,000 sheep. So the king and all the people dedicated the house of God, and the priests waited on their offices. The Levites also with instruments of music of the Lord, which David the king had made to praise the Lord, because his mercy endures forever.
Now y'all read in between it. Just skip down to verse 8.
Verse 8. Also, at the same time, Solomon kept the feast 7 days, and all Israel with him, a very great congregation, from the entering in of Hamath onto the river of Egypt. And in the 8th day they made a solemn assembly, for they kept the dedication of the altar 7 days, and the feast 7 days.
So we see here that it was also called dedication, because you dedicated your best doing that, your best self during that time. But we see Solomon keeping the Feast of Tabernacles, and it's after the temple has been completed, after all the nations bowing down and all Israel is there. This was the forerunner of Zechariah 14. This is the forerunner. Solomon was showing us how it was supposed to be, because they lived in peace for 40 years. No wars, no nothing for 40 years. All nations coming up. Solomon, we heard about y'all wisdom. And the Messiah stood in Solomon's porch. He say, yeah, this Solomon's porch, but one greater than Solomon is standing right here, right now. Greater than Solomon. Even though Solomon was arrayed in all that glory and that purple and that gold, you see them flowers out there? They're arrayed better than him. That's just the outer cup. Solomon ain't got in him what I got in me. He turned on that gift. He turned on the spirit of wisdom that was given to him above any man that dwelt on planet Earth. Solomon lost that at the end when he got old. And he couldn't handle them 700 wives and 300 concubines no more. That's 3 different women every day for a whole year. You didn't see the next 3 to next year if you broke it down like that. And when he got old, the spirit left him, like it left Samson. The spirit, but their souls were still that same individual. Real quick, y'all. John 7:1. Y'all read Nehemiah 8:13, write this down, and you'll see where the priest dedicated the temple again for the Feast of Tabernacles. And y'all read all of Zechariah 14, and you're going to see, when you read all of Zechariah 14, you're going to see the second coming, the Messiah stepping down on the Mount of Olives.
That homework?
That's homework. But we're going to read John 7, and we're going to close out. Nehemiah 8:13 on down. And all of Zechariah 14 is going to match up with Acts the 1st chapter, because the disciples saw him going up, and the angel said, why y'all standing here looking up here gazing? The same way he left, he coming back to this exact spot. There's groups that camp out on the Mount of Olives, waiting right now on the second coming. There's groups right now that have pop-up tents on the Mount of Olives waiting for the second coming, because they say where he left, he gonna come back, because it's a portal. You don't travel through different zones. They come like Bethel, where Jacob was on the ladder. That's the same place Abraham offered the sacrifice. Bethel, there's a portal there because they marked it with a pillar. They mark portals with pillars. And they mark in the Mount of Olives. Zechariah 14 says the same Mount of Olives. Where we at? John 7. Just read that, start at verse 1. And y'all, we're going to close on out after we read this.
John chapter 7, verse 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to catch up with you. Yeah, what y'all hearing? No, I was looking for something else.
Okay.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah, I was looking for Zechariah 14, yeah.
All right, John chapter 7, verse 1. After these things, Jesus walked in Galilee.
What'd he do?
Walked in Galilee. For he would not walk in Jordan, because the Jews sought to kill him.
His own people, huh?
Now the Jews' feast of tabernacles was at hand.
What was the feast at hand?
Tabernacles. His brethren therefore said unto him, Depart hence, and go into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the works that thou doest. For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. If thou do these things, show thyself to the world.
Right.
For neither did his brethren believe in him.
See, Messiah had people around him that didn't believe in him. Yo, so it's not hard when people fall off and we have a great falling away, or 1 Timothy 4 in the latter days, some's gonna fall off. 2/3 of Israel gonna fall off. Mm-hmm. Let's read some more.
Verse 6. Then Jesus said unto them, My time is not yet come, but your time is always ready.
Right.
The world cannot hate you, but me it hated, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil. Go ye up onto this feast.
What did the Messiah command them to do?
Go ye up onto this feast. I go not up yet onto this feast, for my time is not yet full come.
So he said, my time is not come. I can't be put to death yet. They want to kill me, so I can't be killed at the Feast of Tabernacles, because the prophets say I'll be the Passover lamb. My time is not yet. I can't go up now. You know, but he's saying, I'm not just going up with y'all. Y'all go ahead and go. I'm going to ease on up in there. Go ahead. What else to say?
How long they was plotting against him.
No, boy, long time, bro. Go ahead.
Verse 9.
Yeah.
And when he had said these words unto them, he abode still in Galilee. But when his brethren were gone up, then went he also up onto the feast.
Who went also up into the feast?
He also went up onto the feast. Not openly, but as it were in secret.
So he just was incognito, you know, up in there. They didn't know who he was. He was just laying back at the Feast of Tabernacles, because he can't break the law. He's still under Aaron. So he still has to keep the commandment. He can't tell them you go and then he don't go.
I was looking for this scripture the other day.
And see, and the Messiah said he baptized with fire. John the Baptist said, shouldn't you be baptized in me? He said, no, go ahead and baptize me for the prophecy's sake. I'll get with you later. But technically, he had already got with John and baptized him when he was 6 months pregnant in Elizabeth's stomach, because when Mary showed up right after she conceived, the baby John the Baptist started kicking in his mama's stomach, and she started prophesying. So he was baptized then by the Messiah. And then John 4:4 tell you that Christ didn't baptize nobody, but his disciples did, because he was here to baptize with fire. Acts 19 tell you there was a double baptism. Where were you baptized? They say with the repentance of John. With the water baptism. He said, oh, that's the repentance of John. That's just you promising you gonna quit doing wrong. But when the baptism of the Holy Spirit hits you, when you say I ain't gonna do wrong no more, then you get the Spirit to see if you gonna do right. But if you blaspheme with that spirit, there's no forgiveness in this world or the world to come. So this is why you can't have reincarnation, because if you blaspheme against the Holy Spirit, you'll come back again. This say you have no, if you blaspheme the Holy Spirit, what you got coming? In what world? In this world and the world to come, you cannot be forgiven. So what if I blaspheme the Holy Spirit and its reincarnation? I'm be like, I'm going to get out of that. Dog, I'm going to get right. I'll be back, y'all. Don't worry about it. I'll be back. You understand what I'm saying, bro?
Luke 1:17, that answers the question. Who was right about that too?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, it ain't us, man. It's been here 1,000 years before us. We just wanted to reiterate it because of all the multiple camps out there that are claiming they're King David, so they run those scriptures. But you quoted what John the Baptist say, and only way you can answer that is the way the camps answer. They say John didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He was going off. Now, wait a minute. The Messiah said there ain't been a prophet like John the Baptist, born of women. And y'all get to say he don't know what he talking about because he won't accept the scripture that he Elijah and say, I'm the one crying in the wilderness. I ain't Elijah. Hell, I know who I am. It was prophesied about me. The prophet said I would show the way. I would tell the people this, the Messiah. That's my work. I'm not here to do Elijah's work just in the spirit. I'm going to cuss y'all out just like Elijah did, them Baal prophets. 1 Kings 17 will clear that up for you, because when you see what Elijah did, then he made fire come down, you're going to understand it perfectly. John the Baptist didn't do none of that. All he did was curse them Pharisees out. Every time he saw them. Cursed them out so bad he got his head cut off. Because he cursed the king out about the law. You shouldn't be lusting after your brother's daughter. That's your niece. You already sleeping with his wife. So now you lusting after the daughter. And you done gave her half the kingdom because she's swiveling hips like Shakira.
Yeah, that's some off with your
And you done had John the Baptist's head cut off.
Off with your head talk.
If John the Baptist's head cut off, he cannot open the way for Elijah to come back. His head cut off. Let's finish this up. John 7, where you at? We're going to just go down to verse 23.
Shoot, I think I'm in verse 11.
Yeah.
Then the Jews saw him at the feast and said, where is he? And there was much murmuring among the people concerning him. For some said, he is a good man. Others said, nay, but he deceiveth the people. Howbeit, no man spake openly of him for fear of the Jews.
Now look at this. The Christ was so powerful, nobody even wanted to say nothing about him because they were scared about them Pharisees saying something. The hell with them Pharisees. The hell with their children today. I don't care what you're saying about the Messiah. The hell with your doctrine, Pharisee, because it has no end game. There's no judgment in their doctrine. And if there's no judgment, what the hell are we down here for? What difference does it make? All I got to do is stay out of the way of the popos. The Lord don't care nothing about what I'm doing. Ain't no judgment. But the nations got judged. That don't make sense, do it? Let's get some more. Down to verse 23, we'll call it.
Now about the midst of the feast,
Jesus
went up into the temple and taught. And the Jews marveled, saying, how know this man letters, having never learned?
See, he's in the temple now, on the Feast of Tabernacles teaching, and the Pharisees are saying, we ain't never seen him in our classes. Where he learned that from? Go ahead.
Jesus answered them and said, my doctrine is not mine, but he that sent me. If any man will do his will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of God or whether I speak of myself. He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory, but he that seeketh his glory that sent him, the same is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. Did not Moses give you the law, and yet none of you keepeth the law? Why go ye about to kill me?
Go about to kill me. He said, y'all act like y'all Pharisees. Y'all act like y'all Moses. Y'all just sitting in the seat occupying. Why y'all go about to kill me? Y'all ain't got no reason. Y'all ain't named a sin yet, me worthy of death. And y'all already put me to death. Go ahead.
The people answered and said, thou hast a devil.
What does he have?
A devil. Who goeth about to kill thee? Jesus answered and said unto them, I have done one work, and ye all marvel. Moses therefore gave you circumcision, not because it is of Moses, but of the fathers. And ye on the Sabbath day circumcise a man. If a man on the Sabbath day receive circumcision, that the law of Moses should not be broken, or ye angry at me because I have made a man every whit whole on the Sabbath day?
So now we can hold her, y'all, but this is what the Messiah was saying. Y'all mad at me because I made a man whole. He started walking again on the Sabbath day. Now I saw what y'all was doing on the Sabbath day. You went and got your oxen out the stall, took them and got them fed. But I'm actually healing a person the doctors can't heal. And y'all say I'm breaking the law. Y'all got to be crazy. Y'all don't want to see people healed because it's the Sabbath day? What's going on, bro? What you reading out there? Y'all, we close on now. Y'all read all that Zechariah 14. What you got out there, bro? Y'all laughing about something.
What your ride said,
Our brother off the chain.
What happened?
Our brother off the chain. You know who he is.
Huh? Okay. All right. Okay.
What is in the chat?
We got any questions? You might well see if it's out in the chat. Hell, everybody else see it except me in that term.
Uriah says, preach, nigga, preach. Teach that Daniel Solomon, hallelujah. Say it again,
nigga.
What? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know what he's talking about, though. I know how he's saying it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know how he's saying it. You know, but y'all, we got any questions before we close out? Y'all, we got the major 3 feasts coming up, y'all. Y'all need to get prepared. The Messiah could come back anytime. We got the Feast of Tabernacles. Y'all better hold it down. The Feast of Tabernacles, September the 27th. That's Tuesday. Following that, October the 6th is the Day of Atonement. The 10th day of the lunar calendar month, I should say, the moon calendar, is on the 6th of October. The Day of Atonement, which will be the 10th day. But it starts the day prior at evening. You go evening to evening. Y'all, you have to understand it's saying it's starting at the 10th, but your rest day starts on the 9th at evening. Meaning that you got to get your Sabbath prepared before you go into the Day of Atonement. You got to get yourself ready. You got to wean yourself. You just can't cut food off and water on the 10th day. You're not going to be ready. You're going to be hungry in an hour. 1 hour you're going to be hungry and thirsty unless you start weaning yourself the evening before on the 9th day. Start backing off of food. Back away, not wait till the last minute. You wait till the last minute, you're going to be punished. You won't be able to withstand. You'll be hungry an hour later. And then you'll be doing stuff about if I just chew the chicken and spit it out, it ain't really like I'm eating. Oh, look here.
All right, family, we're going to get this closing prayer. And it is with the Most High's permission.
What it say?
And it's in the name of his only begotten and beloved Son, our Lord and Savior, Yeshua HaMashiach. But we know him as Jesus the Christ, y'all. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Reading in the book of Psalms, in the 85th chapter, it reads, Master, thou hast been favorable unto thy land. Thou hast brought back the captivity of Jacob. Thou hast forgiven the iniquity of thy people. Thou hast covered all their sin. Selah.
Selah.
Thou hast taken away all thy wrath. Thou hast turned thyself from the fierceness of thine anger. Turn us, O Yahweh, of our salvation, and cause thine anger towards us to cease. Wilt thou be angry with us forever? Wilt thou draw out thine anger to all generations? Wilt thou not revive us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee? Show us thy mercy, O Yahweh, and grant us thy salvation. I will hear what Yah the Elohim will speak, for he will speak peace unto his people.
Yes, sir.
And to his saints. But let them not turn again to folly. Surely his salvation is nigh them that fear him, that glory may dwell in our land. Mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Yea, the Most High shall give that which is good, and our land shall yield her increase. Righteousness shall go before him, and shall set us in the way of his steps.
Hallelujah! Say God! Y'all got a shekel or two. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you, worldwide audience, for tarrying with us till we was able to get online. Thank you for your diligence and your patience. Much appreciated, y'all.